I need some lip gloss, but I'll hit go. You guys will be okay. Billionaire, Jahan, the studio, great name, James, New York, welcome in. YG Picker, good morning, eh? How's everyone doing? Peachy, vintage by Carly. Hello, Carly. Good morning. All right, got my coffee. It's still decaf, so it really doesn't do anything. Good morning, Carly. How are you? I still have yesterday's piles around me. Heading to the farmer's market in a while for veggies, cheese, and eggs. Don't forget coffee. I'm good. Danielle, welcome in. My daughter got me that mug, YG Picker, 3 Christmases ago. You're going thrifting in the city today? I'm jealous. I do not need to go thrifting. I cannot go thrifting. I'm not allowed to go thrifting until I finish going through all this stuff that we didn't touch half of it yesterday. We were on for like what? 2 hours, an hour and a half? I can't even remember now. I can't even remember how long I was on for. Okay. Went to Malachi, then went to Living the Dream, then went to Kelly Irish, then went to Deals on Style. And then they went into a fashion seller. Interesting. I love seeing. Good morning, Lindell. How are you? Good morning, Certified Bougie. Silky. I am making a dent. I made a dent. So I brought in, let me see. I think we managed to get through 2 bags and 2 boxes yesterday. But I still have a lot more to do. I'm glad you're great. Airy Bear, hello. Good morning, Silky. How are you? Okay, so feel free to ask your questions. Today is not a topic show. This is all about ask your questions. And I will try and answer or just share your shows. We have some raid trains that are on the Raid Train app. If you haven't been to raidtrain.app, this is where I post all of my raid trains now. And it's free. It's free to use as a buyer or as a seller or a conductor, I should say. It's free to use. And where is it? So you just go on a website, just go to raidtrain.app and you'll find it. It's a website that also has, you can also download the app if you want to, but just go to raid train, not restrain. Yeah, I know. AutoCarrot just got you there. So raidtrain.app. And that'll take you to that. Now, we are also planning, I'll type it in again, raidtrain.app. It's a go to the website. So good morning, Pickles. There are a bunch, purpose of an app for it. The reason for the Raid Train app is because a lot of us were using like other platforms that were a lot of they're a lot of money if you want all the extra features. Otherwise, you got all these ads, and they're not like actually set up for what we need as Raid Train conductors, because a lot of us have more sophisticated than just like next person. It is so much easier. Lindell Whirling says, I don't have a lot of followers. Is it possible to get on a train? Yes. Some raid trains have no minimum followers. The raid train that I'm doing, I have a raid train on the Raid Train app right now for August 7th, because that's zero commission day. It is 2-hour time slots. And that one, you do have to have a minimum number of followers and a minimum number of sales. But if you go to Lindell, if you go to raidtrain.app on any browser, because it's a website, you'll be able to find all kinds of raid trains in North America. So if you're looking for, now, if you're a Canadian who sees a raid train that's got Americans, like it's American raid train, don't hesitate to join. Well, hesitate to join them, but don't say I'm not going to join them because they're not fully Canadian. If you are selling niche items. If it's a niche item show, then it is worth doing. It's a niche item raid train. So, like, I did a Wade Whimsy raid train. If it's glass or a specific type of jewelry or a specific type of clothing or luxury goods, it is worth being in those raid trains, even though, yes, some Americans are going to be hesitant to buy from you because of the tariffs and the de minimis exemption being removed. But that doesn't mean that you aren't going to be able to find buyers in those shows. It just means you need to make sure that you're entertaining and engaging. And if you want to learn more about, like, in a 20-minute quick workshop, if you want to learn about raid trains tomorrow, on the Better Together Seller Support Raid Train, CG Boomerang Echo is going to be doing a segment that is all about raid trains, from sign up to shipping, how to do them right. So, good morning, everybody who's come in. I'm just going to catch up here. Um, uh, Peacock, I love you. The studio is having a show coming up. We sell luxury items, and we've had a very hard time reaching the target audience in Canada, and because of the huge size, any luxury sellers here. So Deals on Style might be coming in, and they are I Spy Luxury. Um, so there's quite a few. The key is to do marketing ahead of time and to schedule your shows ahead of time. And if you can get on a luxury raid train, um, the sign that pops up for the US. Yes. I mean, yeah, absolutely. But luxury buyers, unless they're bargain basement luxury buyers don't give a poop about extra costs, really. That Your luxury buyers are looking for the unique items. They're looking for the stuff that they can't find elsewhere. So that would be your target. Your target should be, if you're going to do like a US show, um uh that that you focus on that. And the thing is that, um yes, the sign does still come up. um so it's a warning, because the studio, what happens is that people come in and they just start bidding, and then there's tons of cancellations, and then you end up losing out on sales because they've canceled. So raid trains are basically organized shows. So basically, um we ship from the US as well. We have a company here and there, so they don't pay tariffs with us. So then the studio, you should be selling as the Studio US. If you have a US company there, then you should have a US selling. You can't do both. So you have to do a Canadian account and then an American account. So your US account, so you could be the Studio USA, and the Studio USA can do that. Um, oh, you did not. You only. Okay. So if you have a US company, then you can sell as a US company on Whatnot, but technically you're supposed to there's a physicality element that's supposed to be there. But those of you who know how to export and do all of that, you can figure out the legalities of that. That's not my shtick, but you have to set up two different accounts if you want to ship from the United States. So through USPS. So a raid train is an organized day of shows. There's usually a theme, or some sort of theme, or some sort of reason. And that the sellers who are interested, they get scheduled onto the show, and they run their shows at their selected time. They start at that time and they end at the right time, and then they raid into the next person. And this is a way of building community and expanding your customer reach, because you're being introduced to new new customers, because the seller before you brings their customers into your show, and then when you're done, you bring all of your viewers into the next show, and so that next show, all of those folks get introduced to you. Good morning, Sophie. It's so it like it layers. It layers. So it's a great way, and you also get to know other sellers, and it's more likely that those sellers will raid into you in their general shows because they got to know you during the raid train. So I highly recommend looking at raidtrain.app. I did notice the studio, the last time I was on raidtrain.app, I thought I saw a Canadian Coach. Like, I don't know if you sell Coach. I don't know if you're that level of luxury or higher up. Um, some people may not see Coach as luxury, but whatever. Um, I'm just trying to see if I can find it. There was a Coach raid train that I saw that was Canadian. Oh, Coach. Then there's lots of like Coach After Dark, Coach Queens raid train. Put me on the Coach, 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 Coach. Okay, I'm gonna search for Canadian instead. I thought I saw a Canadian one, but maybe I was dreaming. Canadian. Nope, I'm wrong. I saw one that was Coach. Is there a way to search, but what you mostly sell? What do you mean? Is search on the raid train? You mean Chanel? Ooh, fancy. So like, let's see if there's a Chanel raid train. Search, no results for Chanel. What was the other thing? Hermes or Hermes? Sorry, Hermes. There's no H. No Hermes. So we'll just do luxury bags. Luxury bags. No luxury. Luxury bags. And this is growing all the time. All black Coach plus luxury raid train. November 27th is the one that's coming up. Gucci, Chanel, Gucci. Free people. Free people. What the fork is free people? Why are the people free if it's really expensive? Is it really free if it's luxury? No, I'm serious. I need to know. Women's specialty lifestyle brand that designs and curates bohemian inspired apparel. Oh, it's bohemian. So that's the free part. I get it now. Okay. Those t-shirts look like something you could buy at Walmart. That top looks like something you could buy at Walmart. Okay, some of the stuff, the activewear is kind of cute. The slip dressing is really cute. I'm just too much of me. Ooh, the shrugs. The shrugs look really cute. Well, you know what? I guess some people, the shrugs are really cute. They look like they're all machine made though. Oh, there's some crochet. There's a crochet linen crochet shawl for only $305. You're in Kleinberg. I love Kleinberg. We're a lifestyle kind of shop all in one. I do style and we sell all these beautiful clothing and accessories and jewelries and bags. I love it. Or an embroidered shawl. The embroidered shawl is pretty hot looking. I like that. I approve of that. Definitely not made, because there's more than that shawl takes a lot of work. Peacock Joy says, when I bring clothes to the laundromat in a brand new Walmart bag, I'm the bougiest one there. I love that. Okay, let's catch up here. I'm gonna try and catch up with all of the stuff in, let's see. I'm gonna check and make sure I haven't missed anything. We sell luxury, got that. I'm going to join the Frogs Riding Unicorns raid train. That sounds awesome. You should do a raid train on that. Nana's Nifty Thrifting says, I've done a US raid train. I had 224 right into me, super fast paced. Yes, the bigger the look at the sellers who are signing up. If they're big names, if they've got a lot of followers, then you know it's going to be a very busy, run fast, run hot and fast, especially if you only have like 20 or 30 minutes. But like I did a raid train that was just trading cards, like my own trading cards, which are in the buy it now. Um, and I sold like over 170, somewhere around there, $170 in, I only had what, 10 minutes? 10, I think I only had 10 minutes. Like I had no time at all. Um, yeah. Um, Kaylee says I'm scared to buy from the US because of shipping, exchange, and or tariffs. So yeah, so if you buy, Kaylee, if you buy something that's less than $20, it's probably going to come to you without any taxes, duties, or tariffs due. Um, but if you buy anything like jewelry, peacock jewelry, I think you still buy from the US a fair amount. So you can probably speak to this more than I can, but it depends on what you buy, but you will have to pay some duties and tariffs. If it's a good deal, then it's still worth it. And the shipping is going to go down in the U.S. as of today. Jahan asks, is there a way to search but what you mostly sell on the Raid Train app? Yeah, so you can search on the Raid Train on raidtrain.app. It doesn't, you don't have to use it as an app. You can just go onto the website. I'm looking at the website right now. So you can search trains by title, conductor, or category. So say you want to sell Pokemon. Let's see if there's any Pokemon trains. There are actually no Pokemon trains. So let's see. So yeah, if you want to sell in the category of toys, for example, toys should have some. There's a Panda Pod Raid Train on Friday, next Friday, and there's a Mystery Bag Madness Rip, Ship, or Switch. Oh, that one's going to be challenging with the rules, but make sure you follow the rules if you're going to join that one. So yeah, you can find raid trains in your category on here. You can search by title, the name of the person who's running it, or the category. I often just will go in and search for Canada and Canadian. So if you're doing a Canadian only raid train, put the word Canada or Canadian in the back end of the titles so that we can find it. Whew, okay. I would say 90% new with tags, luxury, and bag. That's awesome. Um, okay. Was it only 5 minutes? It was only 5 minutes. I thought, why did I think it was 10 minutes? It was only 5 minutes. I had 5 minutes and I sold $170 in 5 minutes. 3 second sudden death auctions. Personally, I wouldn't do 3 seconds even for not sudden death auctions because there's a lag. So if I was to have my website up, my Android and my iPhone up, there is a lag between, for example, when I press go on my my computer, I don't see it for another 2 seconds on my phone, even though I'm running the auction. And then on my Android, there's another like 1 second gap. So 7 seconds is, for me personally, 7 seconds is as low as I will go, because also because people aren't always completely paying attention. And so you need to say, okay, I'm about to run this. 7 seconds. Here we go. Running now. Make sure you say that kind of stuff. I always forget to warn people so that they're ready to hit the button. Um, Shipping has gone down. Okay. Most of our clients find our American and want to do it with Canadians too. What can I run since I have $0 stuff and Canadians are so kind and polite? They don't want to outbid each other, so nobody bids in my shows. Oh, Canadians will bid. Trust me, Canadians will bid. If especially if it's a really good deal or something really special, Canadians will bid. It's not like they're saying, "Oh, sometimes you'll be in a show and friends, they're friends with each other, and so they'll say, Oh, Carly, it's okay. Like I hear it all the time. Carly will get that. Or stick six stacker says if I want it, I want it. Yeah, we'll bid. We will bid. Especially if it's a good deal or something unique that you can't get anywhere else, we're gonna bid. We're definitely gonna bid. There will be differences you'll sometimes see. Like I know a lot of my buyers, and I know that if it's a heavier item and they haven't already broken their shipping, that they're gonna hesitate to keep bidding up because they're already paying for shipping, right? Peacock says, I will bid and apologize after I win. Yeah. So there will be bidding wars. It just takes time. It takes time to build your audience and your community on Whatnot. In your first you have to be consistent. You have to find a date and a time that you're going to go live always, and and then just go run and go for like 3 months straight doing that. Then you're going to see a growth in your first 3 months, and then you're going to sort of feel like you're plateauing, and then you're going to have another growth spurt. Starting in the summer is a great time because the the retail environment is a lot slower during this time, all around retail. So uh you just need to be consistent. Magnets by Marika, thank you for the raid. Everyone, make sure you follow Magnets by Marika. I'm going to mod you so you can make an announcement of when your next show is. Thank you so much, Magnets by Marika. I'm going to boop a couple of other people. Boop. And yeah, I will repeat in a minute. Peacock, I'm giving you power as well. Travis, hello, how are you? So your first 3 months, you need to be consistent. So pick a day and time that you're going to stick with for 3 months, and be as consistent as you possibly can. Yet life happens, but treat this as work. This is work. This is fun, but it's still work. So treat it as work, and that you've got a boss who is you, who is going to fire you if you do not go live. So go live. Even if you don't feel well, go live for even just 20 minutes and just chat. Um, and maybe sell one or two things and then go. So, and the studio is asking because you're selling mostly luxury goods. Is one, pre-list. Two, put your start bid at the lowest possible. Thank you, Pico. Put your start bid at the lowest possible level that you can feel comfortable with. There's kind of like, there are going to be items that like this is what you want to get for it. Put those in the buy it now. Things you're going to put in the auction, you're going to put those at the lowest comfortable amount that you can stomach. And remember to think about your time, how much you paid for the item, how much you're going to pay Whatnot for commission and payment processing fees, the shipping supplies you're going to use, etc., etc. So figure that all out and then say, this is the lowest I'm willing to sell this for at auction, and list it for, yeah, do not start at $1. Do not start at $1. Please don't start at $1 if you're in the luxury category. I don't care what, I'm sorry, Whatnot staff, but you telling luxury people to start at $1 is going to screw up that whole entire category. Stop telling people to do that. Do not start at $1 if you are in a high-end category. Whatever that category is, if you have valuable stuff, do not start it at $1 unless you already have reliably over 100 people in the room. Okay? Please, please don't do that. Start things at the lowest comfortable amount. Yeah, no, I don't agree with them. I'm sorry. I don't agree. I agree with you, the studio. I do not agree with them. The Lego community, the Lego community had a huge uptick. Last year, there was Whatnot Canada staff worked with a couple of really really popular um, Whatnot Canada sellers in the Lego category, and the they brought in a whole bunch of Lego sellers, new Lego sellers. Canadian market was suddenly had like this huge amount of awesome Lego sellers, but they all started doing dollar starts, and that was awesome stuff. And some folks were getting a lot of people in the room, and there were bids, and so things were going for a reasonable amount. But it's a race to the bottom. It is a race to the bottom in your category to do dollars to all do dollar starts. Yes, there are going to be some people that are going to do dollar starts. Um, and you can't control everybody else, but you can certainly control your own business. And here's the thing, if you're selling a luxury item or a higher end item, a higher priced item, give more in your show. And what I mean by that is give more information, go into depth, don't rush things. If you're going to sell something to somebody for like hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars, you're going to take your time to treat this like a retail interaction, and ask them if they have any questions, show them everything you possibly can about the item so that they feel absolutely comfortable and trust you. And then I mean you'll be in such a better place, such a better place. So take your time, educate your customer. Like, why, when I show you a piece of like pottery that I'm like, I'm going to be running this for $45, I'm not going to apologize for that. I'm running it for $45 because it's worth more than that. And here's why it's worth more than that. And I will show off everything I can and tell you why it's worth more than that. Julie Mystery Box, well, welcome in. And Sue, hello, hello. Kit Kat, hello. Welcome in, everybody that I've missed. Um, Yes, exactly, the studio. Give everyone, I mean, you're going to have some customers that are going to try and take attention away from the entire show. So remember that when you're talking to someone, you have to talk in general. So, like, if someone asks a question, you say, "That's a great question, Susie Q. Here's the answer. And folks, I want to also show you this." So make sure that you switch it to, Susie, thank you for that question. Here it is. And then switch it to folks or friends or chat or whatever it is, the word you want to use. I stopped using folks for a bit because Doug Ford used it so much that I had got annoyed by it. But I like folks. It's gender neutral. Chicas, whatever works for you. Um, Whatever works for you. I try to go with gender neutral because I can never, I never know. So switch it back. Always switch it back. And the studio, this is on YouTube. I'm also streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch right now. So you can find this again at the Red Rooster CA. So you can watch this later on. Um, so yeah, and Granny Kathy, I will get to that. I'm gonna just scroll up and make sure I haven't missed anything else. Thank you again, Marika, for the raid. I love you. Um, Brika is doing a 9 a.m. A show on Sunday. Lots of cute earrings. She's got great earrings. More got that. Okay, Granny Kathy. Hello, Granny Kathy. Can you comment on the new daily challenges that buyers earn points on? The points seem rather useless to me. So not everyone is going to be enamored with points, but there are people who are really loving it, and they're loving the fun of picking out a new thing. And so my recommendation, and I talked about this last week, my recommendation is, and to be honest, I didn't open the Whatnot app except to go live this morning, so I haven't checked to see what the challenges are. So if anybody knows what the challenges are for today, shout it out in the chat. But normally I would go in. It's just we had some stuff to do with our dog the past way. Anyways, so I didn't go in and check. Normally I would check, and then you can use this in your show to say, like, you can say 5 bids. Do 5 bids today. watch any show for 10 minutes. So if you watch my show, 3 shares. Thank you, Sweet Prairie. Thank you, everybody. So you can say, hey, everybody, if you wouldn't mind to share this show right now, you're going to earn points. So enter 3 giveaways. So the one with the giveaways, if you wanted to, I'm, as you know, I'm not a big one for, thank you everybody for answering. Deeply Rooted, Sweet Prairie, Magnus by Rika. I love you guys so much. Thank you. So these are the challenges today. Watch a show for 10 minutes, which is standard. Hello, Deeply Rooted. 5 bids. So make 5 bids, you make money and enter 3 giveaways. So it changes every day. The challenges change every day, and it's just a fun way. So if you see somebody who does a reaction or something, when you're in your show, and like Lamb Slave will come into a room. Everybody knows Lamb Slave now. Lamb Slave will come into a room and will like, and we'll have like all the little things come up, and it'll say Lamb Slave has heated up the room. And I'm not seeing it now because I've got the chat up. There we go. Shauna's Treasures and Art just heated up the room with a sweater. Thank you. Thank you for that heat. And there's different, and they're adding more. They just added a new feature, which is text effects. So does it help boost the show? So in Austin, some people ask staff directly. I didn't ask staff directly this, but some other people that I trust asked staff directly, and the answer was that no, double taps don't, hearts in the chat do not boost the algorithm. But they may have changed that with the points. They may have actually changed that, because the algorithm is constantly changing. So what was true in April may not be true now. But what I can tell you is that it boosts engagement. So sometimes when people are in shows and something is going on that they're not completely interested in, but they're sort of interested, they can tap the screen, or they can check to see, you can like say, hey, if you've got a chance, share the show, because that's going to get you points today. If you wouldn't mind sharing the show, you're going to get points today. Enter this giveaway because you're going to get points today. You can send me a DM, the studio, if you want to. Send me a DM later on Whatnot. Just go up here and just start with a hello, and we'll work from there. I'll just add you. I'll follow you so that way it doesn't go in my spam. So you can use this as a way to boost engagement in your show and keep people in your show. You can see the heated up banner now. Yay, Sweet Prairie. Awesome. So they finally fixed it for it, you testers, I guess. So it's a way to keep engagement going. And it's a fun gamification thing that works on so many other platforms have used this. They're following very closely the model of Taobao in China, which is huge. So for sure, like, you're going to see more interesting gamification style things that are going to happen. So the tap parts on the screen, the points, and everything else, it's all part of keeping people engaged and interested in your show while you're doing something else, so you can just say, hey everyone, if you wouldn't mind tapping some hearts, let's show some love for so and so who just bid, or whatever. Like, you can add some more engagement to wake people up and get people to like be doing this, which then can make their finger more likely to do this. Lit Travis says, if you're into random stuff, check me out. I love it. Feel free to share your shows if you want to. I will try to catch up with all the questions here. I just moved things down for a second. So yeah, so double tapping may or may not be part of the algorithm right now. That's a mystery wrapped in enigma. And you're welcome, the studio. We also need them to buy. It's also nice, and Whatnot is growing, but we need buyers as well. Yes, but engage people. So when someone comes in, you're going to find that most of the people who come into your room and visit you are not buyers, they're viewers. And you need to treat them like when people come and browse your retail environment, your brick and mortar, people come in, they browse, they might not buy that day, they come back another day, they browse again, they hem and haw over something, they put it back down, they leave, they come back again the third time, and then they're like, "Oh, I think I'm gonna get this. I've been thinking about this. I really want this, but it was a little bit too much for my budget. But I've saved up, and now I can get it." It's the same thing on Whatnot. You're gonna see people who come in, treat everybody the same way, viewers and buyers, because um, they're gonna come back when they gain trust. And when you're in a category where the item price is going really high, um, dollar starts, it's easier to take a risk on a dollar tchotchke, right? Like if I sold this for $1, it's not much risk to the person. But when you're buying something that's going to be hundreds or thousands of dollars, the brain stops people. The brain actually, unless that part of your brain is turned off for some reason, the brain will stop you and say, "Hang on a second, that's a lot of money." Unless you've got an unlimited bank account, that's a lot of money. Do we trust this person? This person is new. This person I've never met before. I've never bought from them. I am unsure. So that's why doing some of your like free people shows where the items are still quality but at a slightly less cost gives them an entry point to know to learn about you. So sometimes a lot of luxury sellers will bring in accessories to their luxury bag show so that they've got wallets and little keychainy thingies and all the little tiny things that are a little bit less money. And that is sometimes your gateway drug to them then coming back and buying a bag from you. And I've seen that. I quietly watch luxury shows and I watch people come in, say hi, this is my first time here, I love all your stuff. It's so awesome. And then they'll buy like a keychain or a little wallet or a little tchotchke thing that's, Hermes or whatever. And then you'll see them come back a couple of shows later and they'll buy the big item. So that's also a thing to do is having some other items to mix in if you can do that in your inventory. Don't just do all bags. Have a little bit. Mix it in and do it like almost like think of it like you're going up and then down, up and then down. Think of it like you're just kind of doing a roller coaster. So low end item, lower cost start items first, up high, back down to low, up high, back down to low. That gives your viewers a chance to sort of have that introductory item. So it's all not just expensive, expensive, expensive. That also helps to break. And then also the other trust thing is you can once you start getting some good reviews, say, welcome in everybody, this is my store, we have a brick and mortar, or we've been doing this for x number of years, we sell on other platforms too, which I won't mention during this show because that's not allowed. But we've been selling for X number of years, and we're new to Whatnot. We're having a great time on Whatnot. I love all you guys. This community is awesome. If you want to, if you're unsure, check out my reviews. Go to my profile right now and read my reviews and see what other people are having to say about me. Unless all the reviews say you suck, then I would recommend that. But again, if you're selling to Canadians, we're nice most of the time. We're nice. Anyways, so okay. Yeah, so the more Canadian. So if you're looking for luxury goods, the studio is a new seller on Whatnot. Um, Jewelry Mystery Box Canada says I'm live tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. on Whatnot. Please bookmark the show and come join me. Awesome. So are you doing surprise sets then, I assume, if you're mystery box, or are you just doing regular shows? Sweet Prairie, Monday nights at 8:30 Mountain Standard Time. Vintage Treasures, bonus Friday show this week, all new inventory. And the studio is going live in 2 minutes. One us suggested us to run Chanel Gucci at $1 to gain followers. I can't afford that. Okay, I'm just gonna disagree. I'm just gonna disagree. I think that that's I know that they're offering certain incentives to cover some of those costs. I've heard from sellers about that, so I know what they're offering. So if you think you're whatnot, if you think people don't talk to me, people talk to me. Um uh and that it's not their incentive is not enough to really, no, it's not worth it. It also, the other reason why you don't want to start at those kind of low starts is because then the expectation is that you're always going to do that. People come into the room expecting only that. They don't see the dollar starts, they're just going to leave. You're going to build a business based on dollar starts. If that's what you want to do, if you want to always be doing dollar starts for the next 6 to 12 months, then go for it. But if that's not how you want to run your business, then you want to manage expectations. We used to talk about this in training at Home Depot Canada. Manage expectations, manage your customers' expectations. If if they think that everything's going to run at dirt cheap, that's the kind of people that are going to come back to your shows, not the people that you want who are willing to pay the real money for those items. So, just like you wouldn't, there was a woman that I met who ran a very successful spa that she expanded and expanded and expanded again in Ajax. And the Groupon thing, remember the Groupon coupons? They're probably still out there, but the Groupon coupons were a big thing. And I asked her like what she thought about them, and she said, "We don't do those Groupon coupons because the only people who come in are the people who are never going to return to pay the money that we have for our regular customers. So we don't do that because we had, like, I mean, and I admit it, she had built a business, so she already had enough clientele. She didn't need more clientele, but she said she did it in the past when she was building her business, and those people never came back for her regular priced services. And I truly believe that you can offer sales every once in a while. You can offer specials. You can do flash sales. You can do all kinds of like special events where you do low starts, or you're celebrating the fact that you just sold your first 1,000 items, so you do a special show where everything starts at only $100 instead of 1,000, right? You could do that if you want to, but do not make that a regular thing. And if you start doing dollar starts, it is hard to get out of that. And I can tell you personally, I I do low starts. Most of my stuff is unboxing shows, and so I am running at lower starts. A lot of the stuff isn't researched yet, so I don't know the true value, the sold comps of it. I haven't priced it up yet. I've just brought it in, and so, or it's from storage, and I'm treating it as an estate sale or storage auction. And I can tell you that there are some of my customers, and I love all of you, but there's some of my customers who only are going to come in for those shows. When I do a curated show, they may come and visit, but they're less likely to bid because they're looking for what I usually offer, which are the deals, right? So so I've that's the expectations that I've created for my brand on Whatnot. And I have not been able to be consistent, which is a recipe for less success than I could have if I was able to be completely consistent. um when I started being consistent, um February and March, I started being very, very consistent, and my sales in February and March like skyrocketed, and the bids did too, because I started being consistent. Um, Sue W says, I've noticed the US shows are action packed auctions, and in Canada, not so much. Is that typical? So, yeah, so they have US, not all US sellers. Like, so if you go to like the Hodgepodge place, you're going to see a busy show. When you go to established sellers, you are going to see busy shows with bidding, like Green 13. they have extreme consistency. They've built a brand. They've got a huge amount of followers, and they get a lot of people in their room. But yeah, also part of it is that the United States has 10 times the people that we do in Canada, and the marketing for Canada only really started last year. So Whatnot Canada may not be new, as in there's some of us who have been around for 4 years. I've been around for almost 3.5 years now. Um, so I have friends who they're coming up on their fourth anniversary. But it is new in the sense that Why Not Canada is new because the attention to Canada was kind of like as just like, oh yeah, they're our neighbors to the north, so we're gonna just also do it in Canada. There wasn't any attention put to Canada, and the budget is still fairly low for Canada, from what I've seen. Um, so, but then our market is only a tenth of what the market is in the United States. So I understand that, they're doing well in the States. They're going to advertise more in the States than they are in Canada. Um, Pickle says, take what you like and leave the rest. Yeah, exactly. Um, Groupon is terrible. Is it still out there? I think I bought one thing once on Groupon and I never actually followed through because I was like, it seemed like such a great deal, and then I was like, I don't have time for this. Whatever it was, I can't even remember. Deeply Rooted says, if you price your higher end pieces appropriately, people learn to trust the value and pay for it. Yes, absolutely. There are sellers who buy from me. I sell to a lot of resellers, and I go into their shows and I watch them because they've built an audience that trusts them and pays up for the item. So they may have paid me $3 for the item and they're able to sell it for 30, which I'm very happy for them. I'm extremely happy for them. It makes me happy to know that I found this thing for a super bargain in a box lot, and then I sold it to somebody, and then they were able to sell it on and make money. So it's kind of like the circle of life. Um, yeah. So, and Meavit says it depends if they're purchasing for themselves or for resale purposes. Yes, absolutely. Deeply Rooted says if you always cave on price, people stop seeing the value and start waiting for the discount. Yep, absolutely. Hello, my name is Kim. Absolutely. Um, Jewelry, Jewelry Mystery Box Canada says, how can I have more people in my show? I'm regular on Thursday and Sunday. Well, that's first. How long have you been on Whatnot? Let me just look at your profile for a second. I won't critique unless you want me to. View profile. There we go. Hang on one second. Hi, Donna. Okay, so new arrivals, vintage treasures just arrived. Fresh finds, true vintage lovers. Vintage treasures just arrived. Vintage, true vintage. Okay, so first, I'm old, so I don't know how old you are, and you don't need to tell me. Um, uh, the tr- true vintage does look like it's vintage, as in 20 years or older. But I don't know. A lot of If you're out here and you buy vintage jewelry, what years or decades are you usually looking for when you're looking for the word vintage versus like Y2K? What years are you looking for Y2K, or are you looking for um you're okay, so you're slightly older than me, only slightly. So you've been on for since the end of May. So you're pretty new. Um so I mean, I always see vintage as being like, yeah, 70s, 80s, 90s for sure. So I would, first of all, I would recommend that since you've got 70s, 80s, 90s stuff, I would change your image of your preview stuff and put in some more 70s and 80s stuff, like especially 70s stuff. Because what I'm seeing on your screen is what on these is mostly like, I would see this as more like 90s. 80s and 90s. Um, so that would be my recommendation is show the good stuff. Show the good stuff on your, as long as you like show the good stuff on your thumbnail, because that's what's bringing people in. The other suggestion I would have is that you've got a lot of words on there. It's probably AI generated. AI likes to add all kinds of other words on there. You do not need a lot of words on your at all. So there's like way too many words. We don't need words. You just need new arrivals, fresh finds. That's it. And you don't even need the time, but you could have the time. But I wouldn't have all the other stuff that it says. Blah, 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 blah. That's all. That's AI. AI thinks that humans need like a poster for a thumbnail. Remember that like it's this big, so you most of you can't even read that. Yeah, they're people's. You have less than you have like less than half a second to get people's attention before they scroll away. They're scrolling fast. You got less time. So banger items on the banger items in your images. If the AI is the one that's giving you the pictures, give it a picture to use. Give it pictures of things that you want it to put in. Do not, and I really think you don't need to use AI. I think Canva will work. I've been using AI, but I'm moving away from that. I'm going back to using Canva for my newer thumbnails. I'm just making my newer thumbnails like fun and silly like me. I love that you're bilingual. Lean into that. I would suggest that you put a fleur de lis at the very beginning of your bio. So add a fleur de lis before the word Canadian, because there are a lot of buyers who are looking for sellers who can speak their language. So having that fleur de lis at the beginning, as opposed to you've got, I know that technically there's more English people than there are French people. So you've got French second, English first. I would have a, like maybe even a bonjour. So I would even say bonjour and then a heart and the fleur de lis and then Canadian Jewelry Boutique. Yeah, just enough to like make it clear that you are francophone and or bilingual and you can speak, right? Exactly. Look at all the see all the bilingual people in the house. Say hi right now. Je suis très désolée that I don't speak French. That's as far as I can say I'm sorry. I can say I'm very sorry. I'm excellent at saying I'm very sorry. Bon, there you go. GP's is there, Jewelry Box, Shauna, Retro Seat. Yeah, tout la gang. There's Sophie, also in Quebec. So there's so many folks who are looking for those shows. And I would also suggest that you maybe put in a put okay, so I know French language police people don't listen to this. Put a fleur de lis and maybe one word in your like say vintage is, does vintage have like a little accent aigu or something? Um put that in your thumbnail so that it also and I would simplify, because like you're leaning into the English and I get that, but you've got a superpower that so I wouldn't you'd still want the English folks to know that you speak English, so they're not going to come in. I would in the title I would put the fleur de lis. I would add the fleur de lis to the front. It gives that, it's a hint, right? If you're French, if you know, right? And then you can have like, so for example, like how do you, is vintage in French? Oh, it's ancient. No, we don't want that. Or crew, le crew. No, de crew. That doesn't work. No. All right. What's another one? Jewelry. In Quebec, you say vintage. Retro. Yeah, retro. That would work. And then that accent aigu is enough of a hint. I don't know if estate wouldn't work for jewelry, but think of something that's one of those, those Fringlish words that just use a Fringlish word um, that the that the English will get and not get scared away. Because to be honest, if I would go into a French language show that was only French, because I don't need to unless I have to ask something. Um, Trésor grandmère, um, treasures of your grandmother. See, I can understand. I can read better than I can write. So I would and speak. Um, I would definitely I would lean into that a little bit. Lean into the French. It's a superpower. Don't hide away from it. Don't bury it. Keep it up there. And then lean into the francophone market. Like the whole there's so much francophone Ontario, Quebec, New Brunswick, Manitoba. Like there's a huge francophone market. So you could be going into like go into French um French language Facebook groups that are about vintage jewelry and anything that you collect, and tell them that you have a show and that you're going to be speaking French and English. So please come in. And make sure that when you start your show, you don't just say, hello everybody. You say bonjour mes amis, and then English, French, Fringlish. Keep going back and forth. I think, and I mean, if you're bilingual, then you probably already do that on a regular basis. Go back and forth. Yeah, there are a lot. Vintage Goods by Ruta says there are a lot of buyers from Quebec right now. A lot of buyers. So make it easier for them. The fact that you speak their mother tongue, their first language, makes them more comfortable with you. So, but then you also want to balance that. So you want to go back and forth. So the other thing is too, is if you answer somebody, the one thing that I've noticed in French language shows where they're like going back and forth is that someone in French will say something in the chat and the seller will answer them in French and move on. You need to be an interpreter so that everyone can keep up. Because also, if you're answering a question about the item in French and the English folks don't know what you're saying because that information wasn't on the back of the cereal box that they read as kids. Like we can do like cereal box translations really well. So that level of talk. So if you're talking about the free toy that's inside, we probably can understand that, or the ingredients. We can get that. But if you're selling clothing or jewelry or something else, so if you do have a French person who asks a question, say answer it in French and then quickly say, you know, Sophie asked, what size this is, and I answered. And here's the answer. Or you don't even have to say Sophie asked this. You can just say, um, you can say it's what and say it in French. Say it in French. This is the size, and then say extra large so that everyone understands, right? Um, Deeply Rooted says, I asked someone this yesterday. I was just curious to know what was said. No, but I think so. So the thing is that if you don't speak French and you see a show where there's a lot of French coming up in the chat and the seller isn't telling you what's going on. Like sometimes you don't want to repeat everything that people say, right? But sometimes you don't want to be like taking your entire time to like read every single thing. But if it's related to what you're holding up and selling, then you should say, so and so just said this, asked this question, this is the answer that I gave, so that they don't feel left out, because human beings want to feel part of a community. And if there's too much, we're going to leave. We're going to feel left out, and we're going to leave and go find another show where we feel more included. So it's going to be something that is going to take time for you to get your rhythm and figure out how you want to do that. This is going to take practice. You're going to screw up, you're going to forget. It's okay. Just keep trying to keep the engagement going in both languages if you have that ability. if you're an American and you're listening right now and you speak Spanish and English, why not do a Spanglish show? Do an English and Spanish show. There's so many people in the United States who speak Spanish who would feel more comfortable interacting in Spanish. You're going to gain a following from that. Miss Jewelry Mystery Box Canada says my live is mainly in English, but I'll be speaking more French from now on too. Everyone is welcome. Tout le monde est bienvenue. I have a horrible accent. I was told that. I spent 2 weeks in like an intensive environment to try and learn French with family, but then the family really just wanted to learn English for me. So I got very little experience out of that, except that I know the grandmother hated Anglophones with a passion. And so anytime she looked over at me, she would make a horrible face. I remember that. She clearly hated me. Yeah. My my accent is so bad. My accent is so bad. I only am good when I'm drunk, and I haven't been drunk in a long time. It's okay. I understand why she feels that, like, she was an older generation, right? So she was like my grandmother's age. She came from a totally different system, and so the experiences that she had were extremely negative because the Anglophones really were not inclusive, unfairly non-inclusive, in business and in everything else. It's unfair, totally unfair. So I it's the same thing as, in what we've done to, and it's not the same thing as what we've done to Indigenous people, but there's I understand why you're mad. I understand. I just When I was like 12, I think I was 12, I really felt it. I felt it a lot. Um, Shauna says, I grew up speaking both French and English with strictly English cousins. Oh, wow. Um, yeah, we all do have an accent, no matter what. Um, well, I mean, people get upset about a lot of different things, right, Sophie? And you either can just say you shouldn't be upset about that thing, or you can try to understand. Um, so there's so many reasons to be upset in the world. And sometimes also our world view is very narrow. And so she only experienced what she did based on the worldview she had at the time, which didn't include all of us. But I think I was the first like English person that she had to spend an extended period of time with. And I was an annoying 12-year-old girl, awkward, annoying 12-year-old girl. Oh, but which, by the way, if you know the song, um, Footloose, Kick Off Your Sunday Shoes. So this was a trailer park that we spent most of the 2 weeks in Lévis. And they have a dance hall, or they had a dance hall. It's probably gone now. This is 1822. And that song came on, and I was wearing my jelly shoes. And so when the song came on and they said, kick off your Sunday shoes, I started like kicking my feet. And one of my jelly shoes went up in the air and flipped over a few times and bonked a poor guy right in the head, which is how I learned how to say je suis très désolé, because I learned it so I could go back over and find the guy and apologize for conking him in the head. Because yeah, at the time I just kept saying I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, but he was like, he only spoke French, so, or he pretended to only speak French. I don't know, but either way, yeah, I that song, every time I hear it, I think about the fact that I nearly caused a concussion. Um, so I nearly caused a concussion. I don't think he had a problem with English people. I just think that he wasn't comfortable in English. Also, my favorite thing, that a guy hit on me in Bathurst, New Brunswick, in it was a country bar, a karaoke country bar, but all the songs were in French. Um, and he came up and he started trying to hit on me, and everyone in the bar thought that I didn't speak any French or understand any French, so they kept saying that he was a chicken because he wasn't, he was being too shy. So they started like calling him a poulet. And I know that one because that's like, on boxes of things. It says chicken poulet, so I knew what that meant. Haha. Thank you, our bilingual boxes. And so then he finally got up the courage, and his introduction was his first line was, "I've got beers in my bag, eh?" Okay, got beers in your bag. Do you want to go down to the bay and drink beers from my bag? I know, I know. I thanked him, but I said no, that I had something else to do. But I have beers in my bag, eh? Want to go down to the bay and drink beers from my bag? I mean, maybe that's like the highest form of romance in Bathurst, New Brunswick. I don't know. I only stayed there a few days, but I just said I was wearing a business suit. I was not dressed for the occasion of being in there. I was wearing a business suit. I had just gone in. I wanted to listen to some country music. Um, I did not want to listen to bad karaoke in a language that I didn't completely understand, but it was certainly entertaining. And then I had a couple of drinks and then I left and went back to my hotel, which is the what is it called? The White Inn or something. It's a landmark in Bathurst. That's where I stayed. Okay. Anyways, back to whatnot stuff. It wasn't bagged beer. No, it wasn't like bagged milk. It was just he had just come from his job, which looked like drywalling, and he had his work bag with him. So it was warm beers in a bag. Also, okay, give me strength. Let's go back. I don't know how I got on this. I got distracted by thinking about all my experiences in the French language. Almost all my experiences. Penguin. Hi, Penguin. Penguin 071427 asks thoughts on people asking for an item to run at a cheaper price than what it was just ran. People can ask anything they want, but you can say no. If they do it constantly, the best thing you can do is be firm and say, Sally, I appreciate you asking that. But as I've said before, the price is the price. I'm offering at the lowest price that I'm willing to offer it at today. Um, if you want to send me a DM later and make an offer on some things, fine, but I'm not running it for any lower than this. Sometimes, you know what? Sometimes, and I've seen it in vintage shows, sometimes someone will say, I want 35 for this, and someone will say, how about 30? And they'll say, yeah, okay, absolutely. Again, up to the seller whether or not they're going to say yes. So I don't think that it's rude to ask unless it's like every single item. They're like, can you run that for 4 instead of 5? Can you run that for 3 instead of 5? Can you run that for like if you're already giving a deal, like people don't do that in my shows because they're already getting a deal. But I've seen it in other shows, and I think that if you're okay with it, but if you're not okay with it, then put it in your show notes and say it as politely and kind, because remember, the person doesn't know that what you like yet. You can just say, thank you so much for asking, but my prices are firm. I appreciate you asking, but my prices are firm. Okay. All right. Scrolling. We're scrolling past the French stuff. So, any more questions at all? Deeply Rooted says there are a few individuals who do that in every show. Yeah, and if you find that you have, and I talked about this in a couple of shows ago. I talked about this about uh people who try to take over viewers who try to take over your show, who make demands, whether it be to lower your price or that they 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 are constantly saying, can you run this, can you run that, can you run this? I mean, I know, and I have, there are 2 people that I've blocked because of this, because I don't need that. If they're not going to listen when you say no, if they're not going to listen and they're going to do that on a constant basis, I don't want you in my show. I don't want that. It takes the whole show down. It takes it because other people who are, you got to think about it like as if everybody, think of it like you're there and everybody else in the room is behind you. Okay? If you were at a party and somebody was like, can you go get me this, can you go get me that, can you go make me a pizza now, I want some more of this drink, and everybody else is like hanging around waiting for their chance, and this other person is demanding everything. If you were hosting a party, people would be like, I'm going to go to another party. Like, this is ridiculous. This is basically, Bobby Sue's party. Bobby Sue keeps asking for everything, and also it brings it down. Like, if someone's saying, like, Bobby Sue's constantly like, oh, can you, like, why don't you run this for less, or that's too much, or like, or run this next, I gotta go run this next. um and like, it's okay if I know you and it's like you got to go, and you're like, can you do me a favor and run this and this next because I need to go. I'm totally fine with that. But it's when it becomes um disruptive and disrespectful. So there's a difference. There's like asking questions, but then there are the people who go over the top. So don't feel like you can't ask those questions. Don't feel like you can't say, could you do this or could you run that? Ask questions for sure, but there's a limit. And if you look at the chat and you're the only one demanding things, then in a fairly busy room, then you may want to just say, am I being rude here? Am I possibly being rude? Just as a viewer, check yourself. Um, because there are people, I don't need that energy in my room. It brings everybody else down. Everybody else feels my pain and the rudeness, because I've seen it in other shows where the people, and I've had it in my show once, where the person, and I know this person is still out there. Anyways, I'm not going to say who it is, but will be demanding and rude about it, and tell the seller off that you're not going fast enough for me, or I want you to run that one, not the other one, or no, like, and they're just demanding and rude. That, you know what, you don't need that in your show, because everybody else feels it in the room. All your friends are around you and they're listening to this, they're reading this, and it's going to hurt their brain. Our brains are empathetic, and when we see another seller struggling with a rude person, we feel that rudeness too, even though the rudeness isn't at us. And so you are bringing down the level. So what do you do with that said bully? Kelly Irish asks. Good question. So one, make it clear that no, say no. Start saying no to the person. Not yes and no, no but. So you say, no, I can't do that right now. I have other things I need to do because there's other people here and I need to think about everybody, but I will run that in a couple. Or or if somebody starts criticizing the way you're running shows, is, I'm sorry you feel that way, but this is my show and this is how I'm going to run it, and just leave it at that. And if they continue, say, I'm sorry, but you need to go, and boot them out. Block them block them and boot them. If you have moderators, you can literally just say, like, hey, mods, can you take care of this for me? And they'll boot them out. That won't block them. You'll have to block them yourself later. But if you have mods, you can just say, um, yeah, can, mods, can you take care of that right now? You don't have to say, can you take care of Bobby Sue, who's being a turd right now? And I'm sick of it. Stop being a hoser. Bobby Sue, you're leaving. You can just be like, mods, can you take care of that for me? And the mods who have been around for a while know, can you take care of that, means, because they're feeling it too. They're feeling the annoyance of it. So if you private mod chat is helpful, yeah. So you can actually do a hidden message to your, but when I'm running stuff and I got my hands full, I'm not going to stop to go like this. I just say, mods, can you take care of that for me? So yeah. jewelry mystery box. I'm sorry I do that quite often. I still buy though. I never meant to be rude or disrespectful. I did not. No, I don't. Jewelry box Canada, you're new to me, so it's not you that I'm talking about. Um, well, and you wouldn't be able to see this show anyways because you'd be blocked. So it's not about you. But just think about it. Deeply rooted says questions are cool. Acting entitled and demanding things like you're the only person in the room, not so much. Exactly. Exactly. And deeply rooted says block them. You don't need that around you or your business. You are responsible for how your show feels, how the experience is for everybody in the room. So when you have somebody bullying you, or being rude, um, I had someone in a show who lost an auction, an item that only sold for $6. They were mad because the person bid six and they weren't willing to bid seven on an item that would have sold at retail in like a bookstore, would have sold for like $35 to $40. Okay. Like a used bookstore would have sold this for a high price. And they were upset because the person bid six over their five and they weren't willing to bid seven, and they got mad in the chat and said that it was unfair that that person had bid and that person shouldn't have bid against them. And I was like, whoa, no, 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 no. We never make anyone feel like, no, there's no friends in an auction. And that, by that we mean, when the auction is running, about it's not about friendship or like, oh, I'll let her have it. That's not what it's about. And then she started going on about how resellers were ruining. He's a reseller, so how dare he bid against stuff. And I'm like, you were buying it at reseller price. Like, you could have just, so I just said, like, no, that's it, and it was gone. And then I booted. I did not block a Melody, the same person as before. I just booted the person from the room, and then and they did not, but I didn't block because they had a weekly bundle that was open and it was large, and I wasn't going to block them. I just thought they needed to cool down. The next time they came on to my show was a chat show, and unfortunately they started dumping their anger again into the chat. And one of my mods, before I even had a chance to say anything, was like, this is not healthy, and booted them again, and the person freaked out. So it's my only bad review. It's my only bad review. And it's basically because they got upset because someone outbid them. Ridiculous. So I should have blocked her. I should have blocked her. But I was thinking about, is this just a bad day? Is something going on? But then, the next day to come into, no, 2 days later to come into my show and do that. No. So um, they canceled everything. They canceled their whole entire weekly bundle. I just said yes to it all because I didn't want to deal with it. I'm going to keep the stuff and resell it for way more. Um, yeah, Melly says the person got upset with how I wrapped a free dress and accused me of it was a free gift and accused me of fat shaming. It was the the person does have mental health issues, but you cannot make that part of your show. You are not psychologists. If you're a psychologist, then great, but I wouldn't suggest you trying to be a psychologist while you're selling like vintage goods or jewelry or clothing or Pokemon cards. Um, that's for your psychology practice off site. If you're a counselor, great, but you're not doing counseling sessions on here. If you're selling, you're selling. You're not doing counseling sessions. So also, when someone trauma dumps, now there's some shows in the States where people literally put in their show notes, no trauma dumping, because sometimes people will come in and say, oh, I just found out my cat has cancer and I'm really sad and everything else. And you're friends, right? So it's like this is their time to interact with you because they feel like they're friends with you. But during a selling show, that's not the time. So if you're friends with that person, say, oh my god, I'm so sorry to hear that. Can you DM me on Instagram or wherever else you interact with the person, and we'll chat more. I just need to I got to do this show, but I do want to talk to you. Um, the chat is going to blow up with like, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, and it does bring down the room. Like, I feel bad because I did mention something that happened. I'm not going to repeat it, but I mentioned something that happened, and like the chat blew up, and we could all feel ourselves going down, right? Like we all got sad together. We were all sad together. And it's hard to sell while you're sad. It's harder to sell when you're sad. So try and reframe things and like grab something that makes you happy and sell that next, so that your mindset changes. Your mindset goes from, "Meh, I'm so sorry to hear that that happened. Your dog died, something happened, car crash, whatever. I'm sorry to hear that that happened. DM me if you want to chat more," and just leave it at that. And then let the chat do their thing, but don't interact with that unless you don't want to seem cold, but don't like start ending up with a 10-minute conversation about, you know, animals that died or whatever trauma, like, because it becomes like this shared trauma dump thing, and then it like takes over your show and it brings your show down. So how do you deal with that? Don't want to kick that person out just because they said that, unless they just won't stop, right? If you say, I'm sorry to hear that, let's chat offline, and they just keep going and going and going, the best thing you can do is just to leave it. But to say, we're not going to trauma dump today. Let's focus on something that makes us happy. That was very sad. Let's focus on something that makes us happy. Let me grab you this cute little bear. Isn't he adorable? Look at the cute little, oh my God, I love this. I love this little thing on here. Look at the little birdie. Look, it's so funny because he's looking for birds. He's bird watching, but the bird is right on his head. Isn't that cute? It's like from 1995. It's over 30 years old. It's so cute. I love this. Run it. Switch it. Switch your mindset. Think about something happy. Okay. So think about something happy. Switch to something happy, because the people in the room who are listening to you are going to also hear your happiness in the item. Now, obviously, if the person just said that their dog died, you don't want to grab a dog next to show, because that's not going to take people's memory away from it. So you definitely want to, but grab something that makes you happy, whether that's the next piece of a really awesome piece of jewelry that you really love or whatever. Um, One of the things that I also, so sometimes what I will do, so in person, if someone says somebody just passed away or whatever, I will say, can you tell me one happy memory about them? Hi Mary, how are you? Um, can you tell me one happy memory? I'm so sorry to hear that. What's one what happy memory that you have of them? Because we all, even if the person was a complete, unless they were abused by that person, then might be more like a celebration. But there's usually one happy thing. And I'm telling you, when you do that, and psychologists will do that in sessions with people, they will ask you to, okay, you've said all the bad things, now tell me one good thing. Just tell me one good thing. It is a way to reframe the brain and to hit you're going to get all kinds of happy chemicals that go in your brain. And guess what? When you ask that question to somebody and they answer it, you're going to get the goosebumps and the happy chemicals too, because your brain goes, oh, listen to that memory. That's an awesome memory. How wonderful is that? And your chemicals go. So you can also do that. I'm so sorry to hear that your dog died. What was your favorite part? What was your happiest memory of him? Or what was some fun thing that he used to do? Switch it up. Switch it up to happy. Switch it up to happy. So it's just a matter of reframing things. Selling is psychology, basically. Selling, living life is psychology. If you're going to interact with other human beings, it's psychology, and it's not like it's like some sort of mind trick. It's not. It's just a great way to get yourself back to where you need to be, to think about something happy. The person who's feeling sad gets a chance to think about something happy about that person, and you're actually helping them because they're firing off happy chemicals that hit those sad chemicals and help a little bit. So you're actually helping the person by asking that question, not just like also making the room happier. So there you go. There's my recommendation for trauma dumping. So yeah, I mean, you're going to have times, Sleek Style said, people forget it's an auction. Other people are supposed to bid on it too. Yeah, absolutely. And you're going to have times where people are going to get upset that they didn't win something. And I always go with the thank you. I thank the buyer and then I thank the people who bid as well. Thank you so much for your bids. I appreciate all of you. If I see that there's bidding going on, if sometimes it goes too fast and I don't see in time, or I'm looking away for a second to grab something, I don't always see the names. So I will just say thank you everybody who bid. I really appreciate you. That also gives little happy chemicals to the people who bid. So you're appreciating them. They may not have won, but you're saying thank you to them anyways. Why not say thank you? They just made you more money because they bid, right? So thank them. Thank them for their business, even though they're not the ones that won in the end, because they helped you make money. Too many people only thank the person who bought and not the other people who bid it up. That's just my opinion. Take what you like and leave the rest. That's the key thing about my shows is take what you like and leave the rest. Cheyenne and Cottage Country Thrift, hello. Vivis Halo, how are you doing? Dragota, hello. Gently Used Store. Ooh, tell me more. I know my daughter bought this for me. I do sometimes sound like my mother. I nearly voiced matched with her on the TD Bank app in the States. Kin Lady Rescue, how are you? So yeah, I do sound like my mother sometimes. When I used to answer the phone as a kid, um, my mother got a lot of phone calls. She was a volunteer for a lot of things. And so the phone, I do not like phones ringing. I have like a negative reaction to telephones ringing because when I was a kid, the phone never forking, my father didn't use the word forking. The phone never forking stopped ringing in the GD house, he would say. So the phone never stopped ringing, and I would have to answer it sometimes because mom had a physical disability, so she couldn't get herself over to the to the phone in time. So I would have to grab the phone, and when I'd answer it and I would say hello, um, they would immediately, the person on the other end would say, "Oh, hi, Barb," and then they'd go on this big that would last like 5 to 10 minutes of them going on and on and on and on and on about whatever it was, that because it was usually gossip. My mother was a huge gossip, so they would go on, and then they would finally take a breath, and I would say, "No, this is Kim. I'll get Barb. Hang on a second," because I was taught never to interrupt adults. So they would just keep going and going on. They'd finally take a breath and I would say, yeah, this is Kim. I'm gonna get Barb now. Because they would just, so I started saying, so if you I often will answer the phone still as hello, Kim speaking. Um, because then I knew all the tea. And you know what? The funny thing is that I ended up So I, as a kid, I volunteered with my mother on one of the programs that with March Dimes. And then when I was a grown up, I ended up applying for a job running that program for March Dimes. And I already I knew all the medical information, but I also knew all the people and all the tea. So I was like sitting across the room from like two people plus the CEO who I hadn't met before, or I had, but when I was a kid, so I didn't remember. And I was literally like, I was able to answer everything, and I was able to say, well, like this is a problem in Barrie and in London. This is the issue because I already knew all the tea. Like I'd known it for like a decade and a half before. So yeah, I got the job. Um. So yeah. I knew all the tea. I definitely knew all the tea. Okay. Kin Lady Rescue asks, do you know about our shipping changes in the USA? Yes. And if you have you read the new article? So if you're a US seller, there is a new article at help.whatnot.com. Just put in shipping or just put in USPS. That's the fastest way to find it. It's an article that's updates as of July 31st, 2026. That's the article title. read it because they are extending flat rate shipping until November 1st. Whatnot, get this. This is how crazy, like cray cray, Whatnot is about building and supporting sellers. They say in this article that they are going to be covering the additional costs of flat rate shipping until November 1st. So flat rate shipping um, is up to like for yes, they're gonna cover the cost of it. What? What company says, you know what, it's gonna cost more to ship this item, so we're not gonna pass that on to the buyers and we're not gonna pass that on to sellers? Yeah, beyond, but still beyond 12.99. It can be that they put in the article that large flat rate box is going up to like $30 for commercial rates. So that means that they're covering the rest. They covered shipping yesterday for some clothing sellers. Yeah, in Canada, they did a free shipping. They did a free shipping thing and they covered it. But again, this like free shipping dollar starts that they're pushing, yeah, this was for US buyers in USA. It's for their flat rate shipping in the United States, and flat rate shipping doesn't extend to Canada, so it's only for USPS in the United States. But the Whatnot Canada is doing a promotion right now where they're encouraging women's fashion sellers to run shows with free shipping, and they'll cover the additional costs. They'll cover the costs for the seller, which seems like that's why, yeah, that's why we saw free shipping in a lot of Canadian shows yesterday. But um but so basically like the seller pays for it and then they're gonna get money back. But that's another one of those things that sets up buyer expectations that not necessarily sellers are going to be able to continue. So it's like the dollar starts. If you do dollar starts as part of your building your business, but you have no interest in continuing that past your first 3 months, then why don't you start the way you want to end up? Start at a better starting price that makes sense. I know you're trying to build your room, but you're teaching your room that that you do lower starts, and that's the business you're going to build. So if you do build a business with free shipping, you are teaching your customers that free shipping is what they should come in for. Those people who are only coming in for free shipping, um it is not in the United States. No, weekly bundling is not in the United States. I don't know if weekly bundling will ever become a thing in the United States. To be honest, there is just so much. Hey, Jinx Canada, how are you? Um, uh, I think that once they get rid, to be honest, once they get rid of flat rate shipping, once they finally get rid of that, I think, and then they just have ground advantage. I think that will make it possible for weekly bundling. Weekly bundling is amazing. I use it. I sell, I don't sell a ton. I mean, I'm not doing, but like, hey, Global Stamp Network, how are you? How are things? Um, but weekly bundling, it is a game changer. I think I definitely sell more because of weekly bundling. I definitely feel like I sell more. And shipping is a lot easier in that I don't have to ship. If I do like I used to do a show, have a ship day, do a show, have a ship day to rest. Now I can do it all in once. So how does the person get charged after the first show of the week? So your buyer with weekly bundling, your box stays open. So you don't have to bundle it yourself. The system automatically from one show to the next all week just keeps that box open and just adds the weight to that box. So I've had like 75-pound boxes. Because I used to do a weekly book show. So people would buy books and then a whole bunch of other things, and it would come out to 75, nearly 100 pounds one time. So
Yeah, you just so if you go to help.whatnot.com and type in, sorry, weekly bundling, it will give you all the instructions about how to set up weekly bundling as a seller and a buyer. As a buyer, weekly bundling is amazing. I kind of get sad when I'm in a show and there's not weekly bundling, even though maybe I'm not going to go into their future shows, but I feel like, oh man, like I could have gotten more. Like I, I, I honestly hesitate. Um, I honestly hesitate. So yeah, and de-archivist and Draz are also good persons to listen to about shipping um, with the new information. And I think D was going to do a show soon. Let me see. D underscore archivist. If somebody could put that in the chat. Let me just see when her next show is. Oh my gosh. D challenge. She's on every D of the week. She's on every single D day. Monday, August 10th. She's doing a coffee chat on August 10th. And when is she next? She may not have scheduled her chat shows yet. Yeah, looks like she hasn't scheduled her chat shows, but she's doing up to 1,000 shows. She's already at, tomorrow will be 792 shows in a row every single day. I would contact Whatnot support about that. Just wait for their response. They'll get back to you eventually. I think that weekly bundling would be awesome for a lot of sellers in the United States, but I just think with to be honest, thank you Magnus by Marika. To be honest, with the fact that shipping seems to be so complicated for some people, it is actually fairly simple once you get used to it, but some people overcomplicate it in their heads, and so there's a lot of misinformation out there on Facebook and that. There's misinformation in the Canadian Facebook too. I had to tell somebody that no, what they were saying was incorrect, and then they argued with me that it was correct, and I'm like, no, it's not. They insisted that buyers can choose whether they want to have their items shipped by Chit Chats or Canada Post. There is no setting for that in Canada. Sellers can choose whether they're shipping by Chit Chats or Canada Post. A lot of people in Canada live in areas where Chit Chats doesn't directly deliver. Chit Chats uses Canada Post for final mile delivery. So if you use Chit Chats as a seller in Canada, when you print out labels, you're going to see labels that say Canada Post on them. They're still Chit Chats labels. You'll see below at the bottom, there will be a Chit Chats code on there. But they look like Canada Post labels because they are Canada Post labels. They're just going to get delivered from the Chit Chats hub, not from from your area. So yeah, so weekly bundling, there's a lot of information about it. I love weekly bundling. It may come to the States at some point, but they have to simplify their shipping first. Their shipping is too right now. So that the changes in the cost of flat rate shipping is one of the reasons why they're going away from flat rate shipping, but they've extended that. But for those of us in Canada, we don't care. Do what you have to do, folks. Selected by Sophie says, as a buyer, only turn on from your computer. There's a glitch in the phone option where it doesn't turn as a seller. As a seller, yeah, go to your computer. If you go to seller.whatnot.com, I just always type in seller.whatnot.com to get there because it takes you to the seller side of things. Yes, Blasian Bunny also does great shipping shows for the US market. Absolutely. And Blasian Bunny is hosting a raid train tomorrow that you should all check out. I'm going to be on at 8 p.m. It's every 20 minutes. There is a different, starting at like, I think 4 o'clock Eastern, somewhere around there. There's going to be a different seller support person who's going to be doing a topic, and it's going to be like mini workshops on how to be a seller on Whatnot. And like, I'm really excited to listen to all these workshops. I can't wait to listen to them all. So definitely check out Better Together Seller Support Raid Train, hosted by Blasian Bunny. So if you go to Blasian Bunny that Mia Vita's mentioned, um, yeah, then you can follow her. She's starting the raid train. She's hosting the raid train, and then you can see all the sellers. And she does this quarterly. So I'm hoping that I can be on future ones too, because I think it's going to be fun. And my topic is give yourself grace. What were we looking for? Right. So what you want to do is you want to go to shipments. You click on shipments. And when it opens up, you're going to see all your like shipments coming up from your last show. On the right hand side, it says open sidebar. You're going to go there and you're going to click on open sidebar. And then it's going to have shipping actions, scan for drop off. Keep scrolling down. Keep scrolling down. And then there's a little box that says weekly bundling. Turn that on so it turns green. Turn that on, and that enables weekly bundling for all orders for opted in buyers until their weekly bundle closes on Sunday night. And that'll turn it on for all your future shows. I wouldn't cancel it, Kitten Lady Rescue. That's gonna ruin your metrics. Just see what support says. Support may be able to help you. Sweet Prairie says, I only do one show a week, so even though I weekly bundling on, I tell people a few times in the show that it doesn't apply. But so Sweet Prairie, let me just see. Now I'm curious. Does Sweet Prairie have stuff in your your Sweet Prairie? If you have things, even though you do one show, only do one show a week, sometimes you might end up on a raid train and you don't want to forget to weekly bundle, so turn it on. Ooh, look at that hen on nest. Do you have stuff in your shop? Oh, your hen and nest isn't for sale. Okay, so you don't have any things in your shop. My recommendation, Sweet Prairie, is to take some of your buy it now stuff or create some buy it now stuff and have it so that it's also showing up in your shop. Activate those items so that they're in your shop as well, because then people can buy from you at like in the middle of the night all week long, and you can say, I only do one show a week, but I have weekly bundling on, so if you want to go into my shop at any time, you can add more stuff to your box. Sorry, what can so in my shipping profile, I just click it on and that's it. Yep. So you're going to click it on, and then now it's going to be, and then tell buyers to use the wallet to select weekly bundling items. Exactly, you got it. Jewelry Mystery Box Canada, what is it that we can do? I'm sorry, I missed that. War Martin, did US just lose their flat rate? No, War Martin, it's been extended until November 1st. But Whatnot is going to be covering the extra costs. So it was going to be that flat rate was going to end yesterday, but they decided there was a huge freak out. So what they've decided to do is extend it to November 1st, give sellers even more time to adapt and adjust. And then they're going to end it on November 1st. It'll still be available as an option, but it's going to cost more. But the seller is going to have to like pay the extra as far as I don't know. Anyways, it's extended. So they still have flat rate for until November 1st, and you can read the article at help.whatnot.com. Jinx Canada says, another important question. How does weekly bundling affect a seller's shipping times? If I sell on Monday but don't ship for a week, will that harm my times? No, because if you look at your when you get weekly bundling turned on, it is going to show that it'll say you have like mine. If I go to my shipping, it's going to say, it says 15 new live orders to ship. But then when I go to 15 new live orders to ship, they all say ends on the 2nd, which is tomorrow. So it ends at midnight on Sunday. So I have 2 days following that to get it shipped out. So I do my shipping on Mondays, and then anything that's left over that I haven't finished on Monday for whatever reason, I do on Tuesday. So my ship rate 99% of the items that I sell on Whatnot, and I sell like over let's see, this month, this month, July, I think I'm going to be about 750 items. So 90% of those items I ship out on the Monday or Tuesday following. And I do shows Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, sometimes Saturday or Sunday. Um, my ship rate is less than a day now because I ship Monday and I've got till midnight on Monday to be 1 day shipping or less than 1 day shipping. If I can get it out, if I can get most of the stuff out on Monday, I'm less than 1 day shipping. And then if I ship it out on Tuesday, I'm like a day and a half, right? If I ship it out Tuesday morning, I'm a day and a half shipping. So it doesn't harm your ship times. In fact, it can help your ship times because you can after a show finishes, this is the best practice that I would suggest if you're going to use weekly bundling and you have a lot of sales. Do as I say, not as I do. Is at the end of your show, I want you to wrap up all the items and prepare them for shipping. Make sure you label each one of them with what it is and like the number or whatever. You can go and you can print off packing slips if you want to, but each time, but I don't. I wait till the end. I wait till Monday. But you can wrap up all those items and get them ready for boxing so that on Monday all you have to do is go through the list, make sure everything's in the box, find the right box size or polymail or whatever it is you use, and then package it up and go. You'll be even faster than me because you could, if you do that, if you do what I don't do, which I should do, which is wrap after every show, if you do that, you'll have everything out Monday morning in no time flat. You can even do that Sunday. You could do it on Sunday before, like you can have everything ready to go. And then if you don't have any more sales, you can do that Sunday night if you want to. You can close early. You can close a bundle early if you want to. But if you're hoping that people are going to buy from your marketplace, your store on Whatnot, um, that's a better option. Retro Seat says, I wish we could send items with USPS to US and not UPS. Yeah, but the problem is with the de minimis exemption gone, everything going into the United States, so we'd have to use Canada Post or Chit Chats, and you have to prepay the duties and taxes. We would have to do that prepayment, and all that gets determined at ship time, right? So we can, Whatnot hasn't, there is no system that anyone's figured out yet, and I'm sure someone will eventually, where Whatnot could charge the customs taxes and duties and tariffs at the time of the sale. But right now they don't have that yet. So this is the only way. Okay, I'm catching up. Sorry, I'm really far behind. Pinwitch says I use bundle shipping and it's absolutely amazing. Completely helps sell. It's a key thing in my show. Yes. What if we schedule a home pickup when everything is ready? We just put all the packages into one box for pickup. Would that work? Are you using Chit Chats? Is what you mean? Um, for Canada Post. If you're using Canada Post, if you're doing a home pickup from Canada Post, you don't put all the stuff into one box. You do for Chit Chats. If you're going to ship it, if you're going to get it picked up by Purolator and then taken to one of their hubs, then yeah, you put it all in one box. But if you're doing Canada Post, you could just have it in a little crate and they can empty out the crate or a bag. I always use for UPS when they were picking up at my house. I just had like a bag and a crate that was in a certain area that they all knew because it was the same guys all the time. Yeah, and Pinwich says bundle shipping also works when they buy out of your shop. It's awesome. So hopefully, Jinx, I was able to answer your question about where to go on. So you go to seller.whatnot.com, you go to shipments, you click on shipments. It's going to open up a screen. On the very right hand side at the top is going to be a black button that says open sidebar. You're going to click on that, and then you're going to scroll down until you see the box that says weekly bundling. It used to be up top, it's now farther down. So you have to scroll down until you see the little box that says weekly bundling. And it's going to have a little toggle switch, and you toggle that switch on. Yeah, if you did it on your phone, it may not work. Sometimes it doesn't work. Also, because like that's the switch for if you turn it on your phone, there's a switch for buyers, but there isn't a switch for sellers. It seems UPS is really random on extra charges on some of our boxes to US. Yeah, it depends on your listings too, right? If you have like if you're doing random pulls, sometimes the person, because it's a human being that has to like process the information. Sometimes the human being is just doing a quick scan and is like, oh, it's no big deal, and hit send and away it goes. And other times they're like, I need to stop and think about this and check this out. And so there's extra costs because of that. So when I do US shows, when I do like raid trains in the US, I prefer to do pre-listed shows because then I've got lots of detail information on each item that's being bought so that it goes through a lot faster. Is weekly bundling available in Canada? Yes, weekly bundling is available in Canada for Canadians sellers, and to Canadians, Australians, UK, and Germany. I want to say. Hang on. Bundling, whatnot. Okay. How weekly bundling works after each live stream. What happens? Blah, blah, blah. No, it's not that one. I want the other one. Okay, it's available for all sellers in Australia, Canada, Germany, and Austria, and select sellers in the UK. How does it work? Where is this live? Weekly bundling is live for buyers in Germany, Austria, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, Hong Kong, Singapore, the UK, and Canada. So, not the US. Weekly bundling will not work for you US customers. They will just you have to ship out right away for them. And that will go by UPS. So weekly bundling is only available for Canadians, Germans, Austrians, Australians, New Zealanders, Japanese, Hong Kongers, Hong Kong people in Hong Kong, Singaporeans, and the Brits. Okay. You have a Zonus account for customs. I wish it was an option. Yeah, but then how does Whatnot get that money from the buyer? Because as far as you would have to cover those costs. Because the Whatnot's going to not go back to the buyer. The Whatnot doesn't want to have to go back to the buyer and tell it to pay more itself, and it doesn't want you to have to figure like how would you do that without having to ask them off blah. So no, it's just the UPS is the simplest because they can send it and it goes DDU as opposed to DDP, which means that the buyer pays the taxes, duties, and tariffs when they receive the item. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to go a little political here, but as far as I'm concerned, I think that it should be the buyer that pays the taxes, duties, and tariffs, whether that's ahead of time or at the time of arrival, so that they get what's going on, so that they understand that this is what your government is doing to you. This is a tax on you. This is not a punishment to Canada. This is a tax on you. Like a lot of US people still think that these tariffs are being paid for, like a 50% Canadian tariff that could be coming, maybe or maybe not, at the end of the month. Maybe or maybe not it's coming. We'll see. But they think that we're paying it, that we pay it. We don't pay it. Tariffs, US tariffs are paid by US people and corporations. So I think they should pay for it. I think they should. I'm sorry, but I think they should pay for it. Japan is on Whatnot now. Japan's just started on Whatnot. Yeah. It's And you can basically um you can buy on Whatnot from almost any country. As long as Canada Post or Chit Chat ships to that country, a buyer can buy from that country. Shipping for sellers in Japan, seller locations and currency. Yes, Japan is now there. There's even an article called Shipping for Sellers in Japan, which I guess you could change to Japanese now. So yeah, there's now English, Dutch, Deutsch, French, Japanese, and Netherlands are all. I think the Germans have their own website for help. So anyways, shipping in Japan. We are going to add Japan-specific shipping details for intra-Japan shipments when we launch domestically. For now, we only offer shipments from Japan to the US, Australia, UK, and EU. So they have not launched to Canada yet. You can't buy from them. Shipping is completely, by default, shipping is completely free. You can find general shipping guidance here. Yeah. So they're about to launch domestically in Japan, but currently they only offer shipments from Japan to the US, AU, UK, and EU. So they don't even sell to Japan yet within Japan. Whatnot partners with FedEx for shipments from Japan to the United States. Donna Pooh, welcome to Whatnot. Awesome to have you here. Thanks for joining. Tell us whether you're a buyer or seller and what you're thinking about going for. I'm just trying to catch up here. Little Squirrel says, so I figured out UPS will do a pickup, but it's a charge, so I'll have to add extra charges to US buyers. It's going to be tricky. How much are they charging you, Little Squirrel? What I would do is add like $1 to each one of your items, so that at the end, if there's any extra costs that you have, like shipping adjustments, or you need to pay for UPS to pick up an item, then so if you're doing like a raid train and it's going to have US buyers, otherwise you're going to have to depends. Lori Mel asks, what about buying from US to Canada? Who pays? So any taxes, duties, or tariffs that are due from that the Canadian government wants, you pay when you pick up your package. So on delivery, you pay customs charges on delivery. That's how it works. Everything comes by USPS to Canada Post from US sellers, and then Canada Post will give you the bill that's from the customs department. Yeah, we pay taxes and duties, not brokerage fees. We don't pay brokerage fees because there's no broker. It's the Canadian government, but we pay taxes, duties, and tariffs for some things. Deutsch is German. Thank you. I thought so, Kelly. Thank you. I'm like, because they're also in the Netherlands. No, but they did have Netherlands, didn't they? Austria, I guess. Spain. They're in Spain, so they do have sellers in Spain, so they should have Spanish too. It's kind of weird that they don't. Hey, what's up with that, Whatnot? Why aren't you in Spanish? Especially since there's probably lots of Whatnot folks who could speak in both languages. So welcome, Donna Pooh. Welcome to it. I'm glad you're here. Pinwich says, I sell a lot to Australia and the EU because it's much cheaper to ship from Canada than it is from the US sellers. Yes, and so if you have a market, I would highly recommend that if you are selling stuff, $10 for each or for like all of them. $10 is a lot, isn't it? That is a lot. I would definitely message Whatnot about that and see what they would recommend. So if you sell something that's very popular in Australia or New Zealand or the EU or now Japan, Hong Kong, Singapore, well, not Japan. They're not buying. No, no, they can buy from us. Is start going into social media groups in those countries and interacting, and then you can mention. You don't have to be like sharing your show and being spammy. Be interactive, and then say, I sell on Whatnot. That's what I do. I go into chats and I see something, and then I say, oh, I sell this on Whatnot. I just sold one of those on Whatnot. I like will say it like that. I slide it in there, sneak it in, to market to those places. Um, Donna Poo, I don't understand Whatnot. Well, welcome. I mean, it takes time to learn any new app, but welcome. I'm glad you're here. Are you hoping to be a buyer or a seller or both? Lori Mel is right. You can write those costs fees off at the end of the year tax time. It's just very painful for one package. That's a lot of money for one package. Is a lot of money for one package. If Canadians purchase from US sellers, are customs fees included with shipping? No. You're billed separately when the package arrives at your post office. So there will be a bill on it. It'll be a big piece of paper with like yeah, and they have the top sheet and they fill in the top sheet and you pay at the post office, and then they rip off the top sheet and that goes back to customs, and you get another sheet that's on there, so that's your receipt. So you'll get a receipt. So yeah, you will get charged when it arrives. That does sound like a lot, little squirrel. It makes me worried. Hello everybody, welcome in. So Donna Poo, sorry I missed your answer here, or you may have just moved on. So you'd like to be a seller. Sorry, there you are. I like to be a seller. So welcome. Okay, have you applied to be a seller yet? If you haven't applied to be a seller, wait until you've learned the app a little bit. So give yourself a couple of weeks of just hanging out on the app, going into shows. You can go to selleracademy.whatnot.com. If you go into my show notes, which are over here, I think, go to my show notes, scroll down to the past the line of fire. There's a line of fire, and then below that I have all of the important Whatnot websites that you should check out. So just take a screenshot of that, so that you've got that handy. Blog.teamwhatnot.com gives you update information on all the new fun things that are going on in Whatnot. Help.whatnot.com is your place for all things to do with any question that you have. The answer is probably there. And then there is selleracademy.whatnot.com, and Seller Academy is awesome. And even if you are an experienced seller, it's not a bad thing to go to selleracademy.whatnot.com every once in a while and check out what they've got, because they add more videos all the time. So I'm just gonna share this for a second. Seller Academy. Share. Okay. So selleracademy.whatnot.com. Hopefully you can see that on your screen. They've got a fun little thing here. Wait for that to end. As you can see, Whatnot is a lot of fun. But here's the thing. When you go into bigger shows, you are going to see people who are like screaming and freaking out and being, and if that's not you, don't worry about it. You don't have to be that. You're going to find all kinds of people. So there's a ton of seller resources on Seller Academy. So you've got community guidelines, webinars, and blog updates. There's how to market your shows. There's getting started. It has a whole thing about like pre-show steps, what to do at showtime, what to do after your show, how to do shipping, a going live checklist. There's even now a seller success handbook. There is a seller success handbook now. 19 pages of a seller success handbook. So go live with confidence, shipping 101, attracting buyers, and Whatnot resources. Let me see. Oh, I'm in this one. I'm in the Go Live with Confidence. I've got a quote in there. If you're wondering, what did I say in the Go Live with Confidence? New sellers should take advantage of the rehearsal feature to get used to the aspects of running a show. I'm asked about these nerves in almost every community show I host, and I always recommend to focus on how you can make the show fun for yourself, which inevitably makes it a fun show to watch. Spend time in other shows across multiple categories to see how other sellers run their shows. Visit as many community chats like this as possible to learn tips and advice from other sellers. Give yourself permission to be nervous and to make mistakes. Every time you do a show, you will learn and grow. In a year, you'll look back and smile at how far you've come. There you go. That was my advice for that. And then what's the other one? There's a shipping guide in here, shipping 101. I don't think I have any advice in this one. No. Attracting buyers. There's also a whole part about attracting buyers. And I say the share button is great for attracting buyers. Share your show and share a few of your favorite items to all of your social media platforms. When sharing to social media, use hashtags that are relevant to your category or the item to attract new buyers. Have fun in your shows. Fun is contagious, and your viewers will come back for more fun, and they'll tell their friends about how much fun, entertaining, or informative your show was. Um, it should work on your Android device. It does work on Apple, but its rehearsal feature should have worked on your Android too. All right. I'm trying to catch up. They gave me the option to bring my own label. I still have to pay for, but will be reimbursed, so it's complicated. It does sound complicated, but you might want to do that to save yourself that $10. So it might be worth it, little squirrel. Running for Vintage says we need more Canadian sellers selling vintage Christmas items. Ooh, that would be a good opportunity to do a raid train. There are a lot of us who do sell vintage Christmas items. We just kind of pepper them throughout our shows. Raise your hand if you would be interested in being part of a vintage Christmas raid train. Say October. Sydney Bod says best advice to a new seller is to interact as a buyer or just a watcher for some time before. Yes, absolutely. I totally agree. That was 6 months ago. Yeah, so they may have fixed it, War Martin. Hi, Madam Birthday. How are you? When did you start selling on Whatnot? So I started selling on Whatnot in March of 2023. I've been doing chat shows since December of 2023. And during the thank you, Madam Birthday. I started doing, so when the strike in 2024, can you believe it? Can you believe it's been that long? In 2024, I was doing like weekly, I think I was doing weekly or bi-weekly chat shows by that point. And in September 2024, we knew that a postal strike was coming. And so I messaged Whatnot and said, like, you guys need to be ready for this. It's coming. Here's some information. Like, please start planning. And they did. They listened and they started planning for it. So I started on October 30th of 2024. I started doing daily chat shows to keep people calm during the threatened strike until it finally happened. So I did daily chat shows, and I did daily chat shows for like months. Nearly, I would say, a good like 6 months. Yeah, that's when you found me. So I started doing daily chat shows. And then for a time, which recently ended, I was part of the community host program with Whatnot, which was amazing. And I met so many awesome sellers that I probably wouldn't have met otherwise through that. Yeah, I did daily chat shows for months. And so I've always gone to other chat shows to learn and listen. And I still go to other people's community chat shows to learn from them, because learning never ends. And then so I just pass on the bits that I like. So what I always say to anybody who's in my chat show or anyone else's chat show, take what you like and leave the rest. You're not going to agree with everything I say. I said stuff about dollar starts. You may disagree with that. You may say, no, I'm going to do dollar starts. I don't like giveaways. I think that I'd rather you do a coupon than a giveaway. But you may say, I want to do a giveaway. So do a giveaway. There's like 1 million cajillion different ways that you could Whatnot. So do what works best for you. Take what you like of my advice, leave all the rest behind. You cannot do everything that I suggest. I don't do everything that I suggest. Okay. And I will often say, do as I say, not as I do. This is best practice. Don't watch me. I'm not best practice. Right. Like, but I know enough and I read enough and I try to keep up to date on all of the um I try to keep up with all of the things. Rhino647 says, I've never seen anyone do a coupon. How does that work? All right, let me show you. Let's do it now. Hang on. Let me get out of Seller Academy here. Stop sharing. Okie dokie. So you can check that out at selleracademy.whatnot.com when you want to. Stop sharing. There we go. Okay. So let's make a coupon. First of all, so we're gonna go and make a coupon. So how do I do that? Sydney, sorry. I have a friend on here interested in doing chat shows to help new sellers, but doesn't want to step on your toes. Yes, absolutely. Don't worry about stepping on my toes. The more people, the only thing that I would say is that when you do a chat show, you have a responsibility. So if you don't have the willingness to stop and look up the information, like you will see me often go, hang on, let's go check. And I'll go to help.whatnot.com to read it out loud. I would rather you I would rather tell you exactly what Whatnot's saying and then explain it to you in a way that you might understand easier than to just say, I don't know, I think it's this. Like, I will try if I can, if I have time, I will go and find out the information. Doesn't mean that the show kind of like halts for a second while I'm looking up something. I would rather do that. I think that the that chat shows are awesome as long as they are done responsibly. So if you are don't know, if you're not experienced seller, so like, I would say 250 items or more. If you've shipped and packed 250 items or more, you sold them, listed, sold, sell at least 250 items or more, then you might be ready to do a chat show. Not everybody is good at chat shows. It's not everybody's cup of tea. So, but definitely the more I'm only doing Friday and Saturday now. But that doesn't mean that Friday and Saturday can't be another person's chat show. Um, because I think there's room for more people to help other people, just as long as that's what it's about, is that you're doing it, in my opinion. Morally, I think that you need to make sure that the information you're giving is correct and that you're willing to stop and look up stuff that you don't know, or to say, I don't know, here's where you can go to find the information, or contact support. You'll often hear me say, just, you know what, contact support. I don't know, contact support. Contact support, hopefully they'll be able to help you. And the key thing about is when you contact support, and I'm going to get to the coupon. I'm sorry, I got distracted. If you contact support and they don't give you an answer, now please know, sometimes they give you the wrong answer. That doesn't happen as much as it used to. But if you contact support and you're not getting an answer that's clear or is what you actually asked, reply kindly and say, I'm so sorry. I didn't make myself clear. I apologize for the confusion. Be very Canadian about it. I apologize for the confusion. This is what I meant. This is what I'm asking. And you might even have to just copy and paste, because you don't need to rewrite it or reframe it, but you can just copy and paste and send it again. Push back and ask them for a real answer. Don't let them just tell you to go to this help article or that help article. Um, so it's your first time watching my chat show? Oh my gosh, you've been in my shows before. I feel like you've been in my shows before. So yeah, more people. The more the better. There's lots of people who have great information. And also depending on what you sell, you may have a different perspective. So you can also just start doing chat shows based on that different perspective. So talk about, if you're a fashion seller, do a fashion chat show where you talk about what it's like to do fashion selling and answer questions about that. Now, if someone asks, how do we do a custom shipping profile, and you've never done a custom shipping profile before, just say, I honestly have never done that before. You might need to go into one of Kim's shows to find out, or you can go to help.whatnot.com. Right? So that's the key thing, is we don't want to provide misinformation when there's sellers who haven't sold a lot yet, who don't have that background of having done a lot of shipping and had issues come up and mistakes and had to work through that, it's harder to answer questions. Deals on style. Hello, hello. Welcome in. Oh yeah. So that definitely 10K sales. They're fine. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about coupons. We're gonna go back to coupons because Rhino asked, how do you do a coupon? So first I'm gonna set up a coupon. So I'm gonna go, I'm not gonna show you this because there's some private information that I don't want you to see. So I'm not gonna share this, but it's seller.whatnot.com. Then on the very left hand side of the screen on your browser, you're going to see a whole bunch of menu. You're going to go to the one that looks like um, up arrows, 3 up arrows. That's the marketing one. You're going to click on that. It's going to come with a drop down menu, and the last thing is going to say vouchers. I have no idea why they changed the name to vouchers. Dear Whatnot, what are you thinking? Vouchers legally in Canada are a different thing from coupons, but we do call it a coupon. So it is a coupon in the end. So it says create vouchers for customers to use in a show or buy it now purchase. These coupons cannot be used in the marketplace. They can only be used in a live show or buy it now. Okay. So then you go to, it's going to show any one that you've already created. I have a lot. I have way too many. So then you're going to go over to create voucher and you're going to click on create voucher. And then my audience is going to be everyone. You can choose new buyers to you, new buyers to Whatnot, or everyone. I always choose everyone. And then we're going to get a voucher code. So let me see. Oh, PEI. Is that long enough? Let's see. And then you have a choice of fixed amount or a percentage. So I like to do percentages sometimes, but today I'm going to do a fixed amount. So my discount is going to be $2 and the minimum purchase is going to be $5. So that's like 30 something percent off. Then I'm going to hit next. Oh, the code must be at least 4 characters. Does that work? Nope. All right. Next. And then you can choose to assign it to just one show, or you can make it available in all shows, including future shows. You can turn it off at any time. And then, so I'm going to do enable voucher for all upcoming shows, existing and new. Create voucher. Okay. And then I've got share voucher code. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to copy the message. And then I'm going to go to my show notes here on my show. And I'm going to put it at the very top of my show notes in 1 second. Boop. No, it's not letting me. Of course not. It's not letting me. I'll do it on here. Hang on. So then I go, thank you for heating it up. You guys are awesome. I'm going to go to the top of my show notes. Give me a second to do this on my phone. Sorry. And I'm going to type in /coupon. If you copy the Whatnot gives you, it'll do this for you, but I'm going from one thing to another. So I'm just going to PEILOVE. Okay. Update. So if you go to my show notes up in the corner, if you go to my show notes up in the corner and you click on that, you will see at the very top, it's going to have a little coupon thing with the code. So you can click on that and you can make, and it'll automatically apply it to your wallet. Or you can say to people, you know what? I have a coupon code. I'm just going to tell you guys in the chat so that you know the coupon code is, let's see. The coupon code will be, is this one working? Edit. Save. Okay, so the coupon code for today is wedding. So if you go to your wallet, which is over here, and you type in coupon under the little voucher thing, you type in wedding, the word wedding, that's another coupon. So you have two ways that you can do it. If you create a coupon for all shows, that code can only be used once. Yes. So the code can only be used once per buyer. So once the buyer has used that coupon code, they cannot use it again in another show. It's only available once. So even though it may be available for all shows, it is only available once. Merci for sharing the show. Um, Hi, Alpha Deals. Yes, it would be awesome. I think it's awesome if you do it a chat show. Yes, absolutely. Please do. I think it would be awesome. The more the merrier. Just as long as everyone's being responsible. That's my only thing. So there you go. That's how you a lot of times people will put the coupon codes in their show notes. And if you use, as Magnus by Marika has put there, that if you do /coupon and then the coupon code, it will make it into a little button, which you can see up in my show notes. Lori says, I'm 85 and I've found a new way to buy nice things. Awesome. Deeply Rooted says, this is very true. Is it okay if I say this out loud? I'm going to wait to see is it okay if I say what you said? Okay. So, this is one thing that's really important, and Deeply Rooted is totally right. Quite frankly, I don't think a lot of sellers should do chats when they haven't read the terms of service themselves, or they are going against terms of service. And I will say this: there are some people that I know that I'm friends with who do things that are against terms of service, but they're like minor infractions. But like if you're a seller selling in Canada and you are using free local pickup as a way to get around shipping and then doing shipping separately, that's against terms of service. That's what not feature avoidance. That is buyer protection. You've ruined buyer protections. Like you've done so many things that are against so many terms of service. You're currently getting away with it. That doesn't mean you should do a chat show. You shouldn't do a chat show if you're gonna do that kind of thing. I agree. Read the terms of service. Read the community guidelines. They're pretty clear. And every once in a blue moon, I will do another community guidelines chat show. I haven't in a while, which is kind of shocking to me that I haven't done one, but they take a long time. If you go to community guidelines, it's pretty long. There's a lot there to read, but it's important to go and check it out. It was last updated June 20th, 2026 at 11:26 a.m. So one of the things that I will often do is I will go to help.whatnot.com and I will go into like the frequently asked. I know the questions that people ask on a regular basis, and I will go in and I will check to see if any of the articles about that have been updated. And if they have, if I see like June 20th, 2026, I will go in and I will read through the whole thing to see if there's anything that people need to know about. And then I usually will talk about it in my next chat show. Did you get your farm veggies and berries? Ooh. Yeah. If you missed some of the show, rewatch it on YouTube. I'm the Red Rooster CA on YouTube. Hello, Deals on Style. We were actually talking with a luxury seller who's currently was starting a show at 11, who's fairly new, who was asking a lot of questions, and I wish you'd been here earlier. But yeah, the studio, _studio. Cinebot says, "What the heck does heating it up mean or do?" It's just like to acknowledge that somebody is like tapped a lot to heat up the room. And I don't know if it does anything to the algorithm. In April, they said it doesn't. The tapping hearts doesn't do anything, but with the point system, it may actually do something because it's an interaction, right? And if you heat up the room, I think that that's an interaction. But don't. There was someone who suggested there was a seller support person who suggested buying one of those TikTok tapper things. It's basically like one of those, drinking birds that goes, up and down. It looks like it's drinking. Do you remember those toys where the bird just goes up and down? Suggested buying one of those to like double tap the screen. You can buy ones for TikTok that fake that you're double tapping. Don't do that. Don't do that. It is not worth it. It's not going to boost the algorithm enough. Even if it does boost the algorithm, it's not going to be worth it if you get caught. And there is no way that a tool that is basically a robotic tool is going to be able to mimic the patterns of human beings when they tap. So it's going to get caught. So so it's PEI love. If you create a coupon for when someone taps the screen 50 times. Okay, thank you for answering. Rhino says, so would the audience just click the link in show notes and then it automatically adds it to their next purchase? Yes, exactly. Exactly. Buy me a Diet Coke. Yes, I hate those ones. Or they're against terms of service. It even says, where is it? Sellers of foods, community policies, prohibit and restricted items, accurately represent the condition of your items. That one's been added. Self-supported country, listing requirements, listing guidelines. Listings with no item listed. All listings must be offering an item for sale. Please use the tipping feature for any tips. For example, buying me a coffee is not permitted. That's like number one thing. Now, in my community shows, I have things that I'm not actually selling, but that's okay in community shows, just so you know. So, for example, in my selling shows, I have a sticker that I run that's my bat signal. So if you buy it, I'll get you a sticker. But it's basically, if you bookmark that, then you will know when I go live. It's the first thing that I sell. When I go live, I run that, and that sends a bat signal to everybody who's interested in knowing when my shows happen. But don't put like a just bookmark me thing. I do the free resources for Whatnot sellers. That's usually the one that and I don't think I did it this morning, did I? I didn't. I didn't put up my own bat signal. So I usually do this bat signal when I run my shows, but I forgot because we got chatting. We got chatting. Yeah, give my dog a cookie, all those ones. So when you click the coupon, it brings you to the wallet. The next step, it should just, I haven't done it in a while, so it should just apply that to your wallet. It may have the code there, PEI love, and then you might just have to hit a button. Some of the biggest streamers do it, get away with it. Yes, I know. Here's how I feel about that is that I think it's ridiculous when there's tipping now. I get it. Before they used to do it because there was no tipping. But I mean, if you want to support a seller, buy something from them or tip them. You don't have to buy like these, buy me a cookie, buy me a coffee, buy me a beer, all these ones. One, they're against terms of service. Two, one day Whatnot will crack down on this. They're letting it go right now. Whatnot has like a hierarchy of what's important. Think of it as like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So Whatnot worries first about like the really bad stuff and then works their way down to like, the buy me a coffees are low on the hierarchy of needs. They're like not, they're the hierarchy of needs is actually, yeah, anyways, they're low on the importance scale right now, on the urgency scale. So they work on what's super urgent and that they need to clamp down on. But this is what I've seen over 3.5 years. This is what I've seen on Whatnot, is that things are left and then all of a sudden they clamp down. And all those people who've been doing it for all those years, who have shown other people that they can do it too, all of them. And it's the little sellers that get hurt the most, because a big seller can go dark for can get like suspended for 3 days and come back, and they've got enough followers and they've got enough that they can come back and be okay. But a newer seller who copies this, a smaller seller who copies these things that are against terms of service but Whatnot is currently letting slide, will one day be hurt by this. And it's the smaller sellers that I worry about more than those big sellers who do it, the big streamers who do things. They're teaching small sellers that this is okay. And I think that's wrong, because one day it's the small seller that that is hurt more by a 3-day suspension than a big seller. A big seller can recover a lot faster from a 3 or 7 day suspension than a small seller. Um, it can really harm you and the algorithm. Um, yeah. Buy the team dinner, buy me a Starbucks. Yep, drives me nuts. What about people when people do it to reach their 1K sales? Oh, okay. So 1K sales, everyone focuses, or not everyone, but a lot of people focus on getting to that 1K sales. I get it. The instant payout seems extremely attractive, and certainly I enjoy it. I've had it for a while now. I got to 1K sales very inconsistent sales. It took me just over a year because I life was chaos. I'm not going to go into it, but if you know my background story, life was chaos. So it took me over a year to get there. Um, but in an instant payout seems wonderful. But if you do regular consistent shows, then you will end up with a regular consistent payout. And just think of it like every 2 weeks you could pay out. And if you just keep your regular consistent shows, focus on quality, consistency, entertainment value, good customer service, you will get to 1K sales so much faster without having to say, hey, buy some stickers to help me get to 1K sales. Some people are going to do it. Some people are going to buy those dollar stickers to help you get to 1K sales. I admit, in the past, when I used to buy a lot from the States, I would buy stickers to help someone get to 1K sales until I realized that wasn't really helping them as much as I thought. Because it's just the consistency to just keep selling, just keep going, just keep swimming. You will get to 1K sales a heck of a lot faster than I did. And you will be creating a better experience than when you're always saying, hey, everybody, can you go buy some stickers to help me get to 1K sales? Why not sell something for $10 instead? In the time it took you to ask people to buy a sticker for $1 and maybe 1 or 2 people bought it, you could have sold like at least 1 or 2 things for $10 each. So, um, a monthly bundle. Oh my gosh. Yes. Like the people who inappropriately do monthly bundles. It is wrong. Don't do it. Final Go Material says, plus it's cringy. Amen. It's super cringy. Like it's super, super cringy. So I would say, like, if you want to add some smaller, lightweight things that will help you get to 1K sales, like stickers or magnets. Magnets by Marika makes magnets that you can resell, and stickers. You could, or buttons, or like you can do. There's all kinds of things that you could do and put in your buy it now, and that people can add to their box and their add-ons. And you can say, hey guys, don't forget to check out my buy it now. I've got all kinds of fun little things that you can add to your box. If you've already broken your shipping, you might as well add some of these lightweight things to your box. Put lightweight things in and make sure you number them so that they come up at the top, so that that's the first thing that they see. Then you will get to 1K sales faster that way too, but you're not doing it in that super cringy way of saying, buy this to help me get to 1K sales. No, I want to buy the stickers because the stickers are cute, right? Like, here's cute stickers, buy the stickers. You don't have to say, if you buy these stickers, then I get to 1K. It would be like a salesperson who's on commission in a store saying, like, if you went to Sephora and they sold you a whole bunch of makeup, and then she dragged you over to this other counter and said, can you please also buy this, because if you buy this, then I'm going to get like a prize or something. Like, I just find that cringy. Like, I'm not here to help you. I'm here to buy things, right? Just find it cringy. Don't do that. I don't think Sephora actually does that. Just saying. I was trying to think of a company you might all know. Sydney says, I'm at 130 sales, and I'm like, wow, I'm so amazing because it's all legit sales. Exactly. And you are amazing. If you've sold 1 thing or 5 things, you are amazing. You have started on a path that could change your life. That if you wanted to, if you are interested and willing to put in the work, it could change your life. It could, there are so many people on Whatnot in Canada and the United States who have been able to leave what they were working at, leave their job, and have this as a full time business. There are people in Canada making good money from Whatnot, but it took time, energy, and effort to do it. Cap City, what's up? Hey Cap City, are you going to be at the if you're still here? And Final Boss, hello, how are you? If Are you going to be at the Sports Card Expo in November in Toronto? If you are, we are going to do a social get together on November 7th, the Saturday in the evening, starting at 6:30. So after the show half an hour after the show closes. So if you are going to be, if anyone in here, but I saw Cap City, if anyone in here is going to be at the Toronto Sports Card Expo, we are going to do a Whatnot Canada meetup. We're going to have an afternoon session of like some workshops. Um, we're gonna poll everybody to see what they want to learn about, and then we're gonna do the most popular ones. And then at 6:30, we're going to do something fun. Haven't picked the place yet, but I'm looking at fun. PJP27 says something inexpensive that relates to what you sell. Necklace extenders, yes. Earring backs, polishing cloths, anti-tarnish tabs for jewelry sellers, yes. Brilliant. Yeah, absolutely. I used to sell, where are they? I used to sell these in my Buy It Now, but I've used them all, so I've taken that out of my because they're all over the house because I'm always needing these. But yeah, like you could sell like little helpers for if you're selling in vintage, sell like little black lights and these kind of things that people want because they go thrifting, and you can sell them inexpensively. Yes, deals on style, absolutely. So just gonna check. Doctors, surgeons, I've seen them all leave their careers on Whatnot. Deeply Rooted says. Final Go Material says, I think the 1K is overrated goals anyways. It doesn't take that long for shipping to pay out. Patience is a virtue after all. Yes, exactly. It doesn't take that long at all. You're totally right. Okay, and then I've had a request to talk about a topic which is mystery bags and counterfeit items. So let's start with mystery bags. So Whatnot has specific rules about, and it's updated. Okay, so one, there is no longer, and Jewel, I'll get to your question for sure. Hello, how are you? Um, there is no longer the randomizer wheel like there used to be. Okay, there's no longer the randomizer wheel. So you need to go to help.whatnot.com and you're going to type in gambling. Okay, because this is the best way to read all the parts of it. You can't have raffles, races, lotteries, purchase based prizes, yada, yada, yada. I want you to read that. And then you're going to read an article. I'm sorry, I'm going to share this. I forgot to share. Even though you can't see the whole thing, I'm going to share anyways. Okay, there we go. All right. So this is the gambling and purchase-based prizes policy. It'll tell you all about what games you cannot play. It also about how you cannot have purchase-based purchase-based prizes. So free gift with purchase. Don't say that. Just add the stuff into the box. Just, if you're going to add something in the box, don't advertise it. Just do it. If you want to have a little thank you thing, but don't have to say for everybody who buys a necklace, they're going to get a bracelet. Just say there's a necklace and a bracelet. I'm selling it now. You get both for one money. So surprise sets is the next thing that you're going to read. If you're going to do any sort of mystery type thing, you need to do a surprise set. You cannot just do it like we used to with like all the items in front of us and then there's a bag and someone picks number 5 and you grab number 5 and you show it to them. You need to use surprise sets. It is mandatory. You cannot go against this. If someone sees it and reports you, you can get suspended very quickly. So it's a surprise set is a sale format where a curated group of items is split amongst multiple buyers. Sellers list what all the items are available for the sale, so you put in the details about every single item. So if you're going to do mystery bags, and inside each box is a mid-range bag. Let's say they're all like Danier or whatever. Anyways, you're going to do some nice fashion bags, some medium fashion bags. You need to list what each one of those is in the boxes. Even though you're hiding it from their view, you have to make the list. If you're going to put them in the box, you have to make the list. Okay, let me just double check because it's been a while. And this was updated June 22nd. So sellers list the items that are available. You have to list all the details of each one, and each person corresponds to an item from the list. Once purchases are made, items are distributed using a defined assignment method. The specific item a buyer will receive is unknown until after the assignment occurs. And so we'll talk about that for a second. So all shows that include surprise sets must choose surprise sets as the primary selling format. Sellers who fail to do so or who appear to be running shows designed to circumvent surprise set policies will receive future discovery limitations. So you will get blacklisted, you will get ghosted on Whatnot, so you will not be able to be seen by people who don't have your shows already bookmarked. They'll have to go search for you, to find your profile, and then find your shows. And additional enforcement action that could be a suspension. That could be that they increase your commission rate. They can do all of those things. If you are unsure whether your show complies with our surprise set policy, do not proceed. If you don't know, don't do it. So distribution, randomization, and visibility. Distribution of surprise products cannot be randomized through a physical machine. In other words, distributing items based on results from items like a vending machine, gumball, pinball machine, or a raffle drum or a wheel is not permitted. All surprise products sold must be revealed and shown during the show. You can't just leave it in the box. You have to show it, or the bag, however you've hidden it. All surprise products must be kept on screen during the show. So if you've got them hidden in boxes, which I mean, if I wouldn't recommend that, I'd keep them out, so because it's even more attractive because you can see what there is. So you put that out in front of you, and that has to be what's seen. So it's either if you're going to be front facing, all the items have to be behind you and visible so that they can be seen. Or if you're going to do a show where you're not front facing and you're facing the stuff, all the items must be in the scene behind you. So you need to set it up and make sure that it can be seen. Okay. You can only sell as many listings for surprise products as there are in the surprise set. Sellers may not use randomizer wheels. This includes physical wheels, digital wheels, run through third-party websites and streaming software. You cannot use randomizer wheels anymore. The full detailed list, so that's the brand. There's more information. Also, here's the thing. If you're going to say you're going to do jewelry, and you want to do a jewelry surprise set, you cannot do necklaces, bracelets, and rings in one surprise set. You need to do a surprise set for necklaces, a surprise set for rings, a surprise set for bracelets. You have to separate it. Same thing in clothing. If you were going to do a clothing one, you couldn't do t-shirts, pants, and sweaters. It's sweaters, that's one surprise set, t-shirts, another surprise set, pants, another surprise set. In bags, in fashion bags, luxury bags, you have to do only bags, only purses, or only wallets. You cannot do wallet, keychain, purse in one surprise set. It must be separated. And there's even more. So for example, sellers must only include items of the same type. For example, in coins and money, a set cannot contain a coin and paper money. So we either do paper money and then coin surprise set, two different surprise sets. Drinks cannot contain coffee as one product and potato chips as another. Toys cannot contain a plush in one product and a doll in another. Trading cards cannot contain Digimon cards as one product and Naruto cards as another product. Do we get the idea? I think we get the idea. So minimum value requirements is really important. In and you're going to have to translate this to Canadian dollars. So in only the following categories, the value of each item in a surprise set must be above a certain threshold. And don't try and fudge it, okay? Don't try and say like, oh, this has gone on some site. Like this should be a fair market value. So in bags, if you're going to do a bag surprise set, $150 US is the minimum. Accessories, so wallets, etc., $50 US is the minimum. Sneakers and streetwear. Now, it does say that it's US dollars for Europe and Great Britain. I would send a message to Whatnot support to confirm whether it's $150 US or $150 Canadian. It may be $150 Canadian, but check with Whatnot support before you set it up. Sneakers and streetwear, $50, and sports memorabilia, $35 minimum. And if you want to sell surprise products in bags and accessories or sneakers and streetwear, you need to apply to be to get approved to sell in those surprise sets in those categories. And there's rules for the UK, and yeah, that's it. So that was surprise sets, and then counterfeit items. This one is huge and so important. It is so important to, and I've seen, how many of you have seen Whatnot's ads on like Instagram where a cutie patootie is showing off her Whatnot haul, and she shows off like a really amazing Louis Vuitton bag, and all the comments are fake, 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 fake. Now, obviously, Whatnot wouldn't do an ad for something that was fake. They're very, very, very concerned with making sure that that there are less counterfeits. So if you think you see a counterfeit, if you are unsure, report so that Whatnot can look into it. Okay. If you purchase something and you find out it's counterfeit, report right away. Message support right away. It is illegal anyways. Okay. So let's forget about Whatnot. Let's just talk about reality in the world. It is illegal to sell counterfeit items. Full stop. So if you have like earrings that you like, if I see a pair of earrings that have a, like I I was doing a random pulls of jewelry from an auction that I hadn't looked at in a while. I pulled out one of them. It said Dior on it. I was like, I'm not going to sell this until I confirm whether it's real or not. And if it's not real, I'm not selling it. So I did confirm it's real. It will go into a buy it now at some point, but I wasn't going to just sell it without knowing for sure whether or not it was real, because that would be illegal in Canada and the United States. It's illegal. It would be illegal for me to sell it, even though I could say, I don't know if this is Dior or this is fake Dior or this is, there's a difference. Like in perfume, there are inspired by yada yada perfumes. Okay. They are on that cusp. They're on the gray area. They're okay. But if you're trying to sell it as Chanel and it's not Chanel, then that's counterfeit. So sometimes you'll see like earrings and stuff. You'll get a lot of earrings and someone's got like a logo that looks like Louis Vuitton or something, and you can tell right away it's not. You can't legally sell another company's logo like that. You have to be very careful. I hope I covered that. If not, feel free to chime in. Jewel, sorry, this took a while. When you choose your shipping method and weight when setting the auction, do you put the product weight or do you need to also weigh the package? Jewel, this is a great question. So when you ship on Whatnot, when you set up your shipping for each item, you want to select the weight that it's going to be when it's shipped. So I will say, for example, let's look at this. All right. This is breakable, right? This piece of pottery is breakable. So first off, I'm going to weigh it. And I stick to ounces because Whatnot's system is in ounces. So I'm getting much better at figuring out weights. So this is raw. Its raw weight before it's packaged up is going to be 13.7 ounces. So that's like 16 ounces is a pound. So it is definitely going to be over a pound. So I know based on experience that adding the box and the paper and the bubble wrap and the extra wrap and the thank you note and the label is going to make it between 1 to 2 pounds. So I will select 1 to 2 pounds as the weight for this item. That is how I do it. So for let's do another one. Let's do another one. Say it's these playing cards. Okay, these playing cards are not going to need a lot of protection. I'm going to put them in some bubble wrap. I'm gonna wrap them in paper, put them in some bubble wrap, and then I might even put these in a poly mailer. So it's much more lightweight. So let's find out what the raw weight is. The raw weight is 3.5 ounces. 3.5 ounces before it's shipped. But then let me see if I've got stuff I can use for this. All right. We're going to wrap it in some paper. And then this is going to represent my poly. Okay. And then we got some bubble wrap. I'm just doing this really quick. And then some other bubble wrap. All right. And then a poly mailer on top of that. And then I put it on here and it is now 5.1. So this went from 3.7 to 5.1. So I will select 4 to 7 ounces for this to ship it. But if this was something that's breakable, so if this was something that was fairly lightweight but breakable, like this little item is 1.3, okay? But this could get crushed. This could get broken. All of this could get broken. This is going to need a small but good box, a really heavy box, and it's going to need a lot. So I would go with 4 to 7 ounces for this, even though this is weighing in at 1.2. Once I add the box, because it's going to need a sturdy box, it's going to need lots of bubble wrap, paper around it to make sure that it arrives in one piece. It is going to be 4 to 7 ounces. So that's what you want to do is, so clothing, for example, clothing is fairly easy. You're going to weigh the raw weight and then you only have to add a little bit for the poly mailer. And yes, when people buy multiple amounts, that poly mailer weight is not going to be affecting the other packages, but you don't know who's going to win that item. If you run it as an auction or in the buy it now, you don't know who's going to buy that at the end of the day. So always select the shipped weight, not the raw weight. Deeply Rooted says, I thought I just did that in a show last week. The spinner wheel, the randomizer wheel that they used to have, that's been gone for a little bit. Okay. YG Picker says, I did surprise sets with Shopkins. That seems really fun. Jewelry as accessories? No, jewelry is its own category. So I wouldn't, no, you're okay. Jewelry is not in. Accessories is like bags and accessories. They mean more on the luxury side of things or the higher end things. So yeah. So wheels aren't allowed, but randomizers aren't, and the slots have to be physically show the potential winnings. Yes, it all has to be there available to be seen. So like if it's a tool with the brand of the actual tool brand, but they say it's generic. Yeah, no. If it's a tool and it says DeWalt on it, but it's not real DeWalt, then it's counterfeit. You shouldn't sell it. Depending on the weight I set up, the buyer will see a different price when I run the auction. That's right. Yes, Jewel, you're correct. So if you put in 1 to 2 pounds for that item, the buyer will see their shipping costs for 1 to 2 pounds. If they first bought something that was 4 to 7 ounces, they paid shipping for something shipping to them at 4 to 7 ounces. When they then pick the next thing, it's only going to show the shipping to add that 1 to 2 pounds to the box. So once they buy their first thing, each item just gets added to the weight of the box and increases the weight of the box. And that's what Whatnot calculates and charges them for. Nana's Nifty Thrifting says I've gotten really good with my weights, but it drives me crazy that when I change the box sizes from 13 centimeters to 13, yeah, I get. So you do get 5 free shipping adjustments that helps newer sellers and smaller sellers. Um, I would say if you find that you've got a heavy thing that's large, I make sure that I keep my weights a little bit higher. So if I know this is not going to be 13 centimeters is 5 inches for the folks in the room who like it's almost 5 inches. It's just over 5 inches. So 13 centimeters is only this big. Okay. 13 centimeters. So if I'm selling something and I know that it's gonna be bigger, then I up my weights. So a really large item, I will up my weights even more. That's why I use my listings say like small, medium, large, extra large, massive, because that also makes me remember that if it's larger, I should be putting it in a larger. It's not just weight wise that it's larger, but also that it's large, and I should put it in the higher weights because of that. Deeply rooted. Okay, sorry. Let me see if I can find. Is it your question about the wheels aren't allowed and randomizers aren't allowed? The slots have to visibly show the potential winnings. Yes, so you have to be able to. So it will literally say in surprise sets, here's what the items are that are in this surprise set with details like brand. What is it again? Let me just pull it back up again. You have to put brand, manufacturer, where relevant, the title, product name, the condition, and the quantity. You list it all. There's a whole thing when you set up surprise sets. There's a whole like system to a form, basically like a form to fill out. I hope that answers it. Let me know if I didn't. Is there any way to ship the boxes individually without them bundling? You can unbundle if you want to, Pac-Man Girl, or you can use a custom shipping profile. But if you are doing weekly bundling, even a custom shipping profile will bundle even if a custom shipping profile was for one item in one box, you can, it'll still bundle. It'll still bundle. So that's the only thing. So if you have a very large item, and I wish, dear Whatnot, one of the things that we do need is, for example, I sold some very large framed needlepoint and crewels. They were large. They were very large. They had large boxes. I did a custom shipping profile for them with max one in the box. It bundled with the weekly bundle. So I had to try and figure out, to save costs for me, I had to try and figure out how to take this massive painting or like massive, it was huge. Like they're huge. There was 3 of them in one show that I had to do, and they were huge. That cost me I paid for shipping adjustments for those. That was before April. That was before April. In May they changed it. They've updated it again a little bit. So yes, if your shipment is above 13 centimeters, which most of us are over 13 centimeters, you may have a shipping adjustment. But if your weights are high enough and you edit your weights down to what they are, when you weigh them, then you should be fine. I mean, I'm shipping out like large boxes, and I had, let's see the actual amount that I paid. Finances, ledger, and we're going to go to, let's see, I'm looking for the red. Show 100. There's a lot to go through here. Sorry, hang on. This is what happens when you sell a lot. It takes forever to find what you want to talk about. So I had 31 cents for one and 55 cents for the other. So it cost me, I sold last week, oh God, how many did I do? A few hundred items. And I had 22 shipments, and I used up my 5 free shipping adjustments, and I had 86 cents that I paid in shipping adjustments. And I'm talking like I had big, big, big boxes. Like my standard box size for most of my big shipments, because people buy like, 20, 30 items from me, is 46 centimeters by 39 centimeters by 34 centimeters, which is about a 2 cubic feet. That's the boxes that I tend to send out. And I will make them smaller. I will cut them down to make them smaller, but that's my standard large box. I have a whole bunch of them because of the flood. There was a whole bunch of them that they used, and I've been slowly using up the ones. Um, You don't offer weekly bundling because of what you sell. What you why? Hang on. Now I need to know. I'm curious. I'm curious now because I've bought from you. You got candy and chocolates and stuff and Hello Kitty. Why wouldn't you want a bundle? I just want to be able to check with the boxes individually without them bundling. So, oh, right, because you're doing big boxes of candy. Right, you're doing like box lots of candy, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So if you're looking for candy, Pac-Man Girl is your woman. So what I would suggest, Pac-Man Girl, is like I would do bundles. I would not like why can't you ship out? Why can't you put that candy, that box of candy into a bigger box? Because like if they're buying, you've got today, Friday, in September you got a Wednesday show, Thursday. I mean, if you're doing it once a week, that's one thing. But why can't you just put it in a bigger box? I think you will have more customers. People will buy more from you if if you can just go to like your local grocery store, your hardware store, your convenience store, the drugstore. They all have boxes. Just use up their free boxes, and just put your boxes into bigger boxes. I think you'd sell more. I think you'd sell more because the shipping would already be broken. And if they bought another 2 pounds, it might cost them $2 more for shipping. And it's not going to cost you anymore if you just have kept your weights correct, right? So, yeah. When people buy more than one candy chocolate box, then it bundles. Some Pac-Man Girl, I ship vintage decor, 50, 100 pounds. So, yeah. So don't unbundle. Put it in a bigger box. I wouldn't unbundle. If you unbundle, so Mia Vita asks, if you unbundle, who pays for the second or third box? The seller does. So don't unbundle, put it in a bigger box. Put those boxes in another box and ship. And learn one of the things that I will say is learn how to make a box smaller. You can buy a really inexpensive tool, or you can just do it yourself, um, to make a box smaller. All you need to do is measure where you want it to fold into. You score along the inside. You score the box along that line. You can use a ruler. I used to do it freehand with a knife. I would do it freehand and just go and be as close as possible. And you just go across all 4 sides inside. You score it to where you want it to fold down to, and then you cut down to that scoring on all 4 corners. You go snip, 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 and then you just go boom, 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 and it makes it a smaller box. So you can take free boxes from all over the place that are bigger and make them smaller. You can't make a small box bigger, but you can make a big box smaller. And you can watch this. Jewel has your first show on Whatnot this evening. Vintage watches. What time? I'm going to look. View profile. There we go. Hopefully I don't accidentally go in. New Whatnot seller from Quebec. Welcome. And you do have a show scheduled for 6 p.m. Whoops, I almost left. 6 p.m. Eastern time. So everyone go check out Jewel Jewel, new seller selling watches. Donna, are you listening? New watch seller. Um, and awesome. Welcome. One things I would suggest, Jewel Jewel, is that you add some more details to your bio when you get a chance. And also before your show tonight, schedule more shows, because people who come into your shows are going to look at what you have and they're going to be like, "Ooh, I like this person. I think I'll come back. I can't stay today. I think I'll come back." And they're going to go to your profile to bookmark your upcoming shows, and you're not going to have any upcoming shows. So go in there and schedule 10 shows. When you go to schedule shows, when you set up a show, right below where it says the date and the time, there's a little bar that everyone ignores, almost everyone ignores, that says does not repeat. If you click on that bar, it'll do a drop down menu and you can just set up like 10 weekly shows. It'll be a drop down menu, and then you can say weekly, and then every 1 week, and then it's going to say, okay, how many times do you want to do this? And just hit 10. Just keep going up plus 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 until you hit 10, and then you will have set up 10 shows all at once with only the work of one show. And then you can go in and edit as you need to. You can change it and edit it and move it around if you need to. Danny's Thrifting says, I had 10 large boxes, cost me $2. I mean, I find the shipping adjustments now that they've calmed down, even though they've made some adjustments to the adjustments. And that may have been because I said in the show the other day, I said, I think that Whatnot's getting like, this is not normal. This needs to be like, I think there's something wrong here. They fixed it. So we're getting little shipping adjustments, and maybe they're just going to like micro manage us up to bigger shipping adjustments. I don't know. We'll have to see. But what I can say is that these shipping adjustments that are currently happening are minor. And if I have to spend like $2 a week on when I'm selling like hundreds of items, if you have large shipping adjustments, then I want you to ask yourself, what was it that went wrong? If your weight was right on the nose, but your items were bigger, then your weight wasn't right. Your weight should have been higher so that the buyer paid a little bit more for shipping, and they won't get charged a huge amount. Like we're talking $1, $2, some people maybe $3, depending on how far away they live from you. But it should be the buyer that pays for the shipping. So put your shipping, if you've got a larger item, if you've got a big item, you're going to need a bigger box anyways. No matter how many other items they put in the box, they could buy all jewelry, but they buy one big vase, right? That big vase needs to be at a higher weight because it's an extra large item. Liz, hello, how are you? What Liz likes is custom shipping profiles won't bundle if you add dimensions. Not in Canada if you use weekly bundling. Not in Canada if you use weekly bundling. If you use weekly bundling and you still add dimensions and max number of items in the box, it will still bundle all together into one bundle. They haven't fixed that yet. So yeah, that's my issue. My buyers are complaining it's too much for shipping. So here's what I would suggest, Pac-Man Girl. When you run your shows, I don't know if you have your show loaded. Let me look. Here's what I would suggest. If you're selling heavy items like, let's see. Look at this. So shipping to me for your sweet bundle bins, which I guess are like 2 pounds or something, is $17.41. So that's an owie, right? That is high. That feels like a lot to me. Let me see if there's anything in your shop that I can compare that to. Hang on. I'm going to see if there's something lightweight in your shop that I can compare. And I get the idea of wanting to do all bundles. I don't see, maybe this will be lighter weight. Hang on. Okay, so like the Beatles thing that you have, that the Beatles cute little submarine, yellow submarine, That's $12.15. So I'm guessing that's probably around 8 to 11 ounces. And then I'm guessing that your boxes are like 1 to 2 pounds or 2 to 3 pounds. So what I would suggest is start off by selling, start off by selling some candy separate if you legally are allowed to, if it's not meant to stay in a box. Sell some candy, sell some chocolate bars or whatever it is, sell those separately and encourage your buyers to buy those first. And then if they say they're looking at the big bundle and they're saying it's too much for shipping, say, you know what, if you go in and buy this little candy bar, that's going to break your shipping and then shipping will be a little bit less expensive. Now, is it actually? No, not anymore because of the way that they change it. But psychologically, it breaks it up and makes it feel better. So, I would suggest instead of just doing bundles, I would add some small things and mix it in. So do like I'm gonna run just some of these special Kit Kats, and you run the Kit Kats, and then okay, now we're gonna do a bundle box, which includes some of these Kit Kats too, but you got all these other things, and then you run those for a bit, and then you run something else that's like a cool thing, like I don't know, gummy bears or something, and you run those as a separate item, and then you run the bundles again, and go back and forth. You might help. It might help to alleviate that people complaining it's too much shipping. And your buyers are definitely going to complain it's too much shipping if they want to buy multiple bundles from you, but they have to pay for shipping each time. If you instead put those bundle boxes into one bigger box, their shipping would be a lot less, lot less. Um, Angie says my internet lagging, might not do a show today, need a Wi-Fi booster. Yes, definitely get a Wi-Fi booster. I bought for my computer, I bought this little because my computer's Wi-Fi. I know you're probably running off your phone, but my computer's Wi-Fi is an old Wi-Fi. So I bought one of these that now does internet 6. So it's a faster internet. So now my computer isn't lagging as much as it used to. And you can get and if you Angie, if you're using an internet service provider, you may be able to get for free or for a small rental charge some Wi-Fi extenders. So contact your internet service provider at the shop and find out. So Pac-Man Girl's on at 8 p.m. tonight. Join for candy, chocolate, and kids' items and more. Awesome. I love it. Jessica is doing a baby toddler show tonight. I usually specialize in vintage. If most of my following wants women's clothes, should I expect tonight to be slow? I don't think if I mean, I think that there'll still be people that come in for your baby and toddler show because most women, not all, but a lot of women end up with babies and toddlers. The babies become toddlers, so they're still gonna want your stuff. The studio, I'm sorry. Thank you so much for the raid. I'm so far behind. Everyone, please follow the studio. How did your show go? Welcome in everybody. Make sure you're following the studio, a new seller. Um Canadian Brick Cafe, hello, says Canadian Brick Cafe tech tips. Wi-Fi boosters can cause more issues than they can resolve. Oh, it's best to wire all the things. You can get a USB-C network adapter cheaper than a Wi-Fi booster. This is true. I have a USB-C Ethernet adapter that I used to use downstairs with my Android. The thing is, with an iPhone, you need to have a specialized one, and it's hard to find them for my older because mine is a lightning, and it's hard to find the good ones for inexpensive for an iPhone. You just had a wonderful quick show. That's awesome. Everyone, the studio is a newer seller on Whatnot, and the Apple tax. I know Apple is, but the newer phones have USB-C. So, but it's like I bought 3 different adapters and they all didn't work for Apple. Um, so I think if I start doing only chat shows, I might switch to doing only chat shows on my because this is the only way to multicast other than doing OBS, and I don't want to do OBS. So thank you, Magnus by Marika, for making the announcement. Um, so yeah, but the only reason I got an iPhone was because of that, and otherwise I'd be using my Android. But my Android is all cracked up. So I'm giving it a rest. So I'm currently on iOS products, but that's not because I like them. It's just if I want to multicast. Um, yeah, well, I mean, it's more like Apple has this ability that Android doesn't have for the multicasting. So Apple is something in Apple is made for this, and it's not on Android. And Whatnot is trying to go with the least complicated, right? So at least they have it available for us. Like they could have just said we're not going to let you multicast, we're not going to bother, but they have, and I like it. Okay, I need a drink. Anybody have any questions, or do you want to share your shows? It's 1:33, so I've gone on for way longer than normal. And I need to get ready tonight. I'm going to do my mom's estate sale, the continuation of mom's estate sale. So if you're interested, and then any of my mother's stuff, I'm slowly going through it. A little bit at a time. So if you're interested in any of my mother's stuff, come and see me tonight, or you can pre-bid. You can leave a pre-bid. There's a couple of people that have left pre-bids already. So there's a bunch of cute things. Retro Seat tonight at 8:30 p.m. Vintage Jewelry Show with Sophie. It's 10:30 a.m., 10:33 a.m. here on the West Coast. So yeah, it's lunchtime. It's past lunchtime for me. So last call to share your shows or ask any questions. I'm going to look and see who is on right now that we might be able to rate that we haven't rated in a while or at all. Trying to see if there's a newer seller. It's not in fashion. No offense, but not in fashion today. Let's see this person. Slow shipping rate. 46 items sold. I'm going to check it out. If anyone has these suggestions, so feel free to share your shows or ask your questions. And if you want any follows, message and put a thing in the chat. You're welcome, Deeply Rooted. I'm glad to help. You know what? Let's go into this. Yeah. Let me just double check that there's no one else. Hang on. I don't want. No. Yeah. Okay. All right. We're gonna go into the blinged up alpaca. I'm just gonna double check that she's actually live chatting, and it's not a. Yes, she's live chatting. So you will be. Oops. Hang on. Send. Go away. Tara's off treasures. Tara's soft treasures. You too, Deals on Style. Love you. You haven't gone live yet. You will be in September. Good for you. Congratulations. That is awesome. Congratulations. Okay. Megs Marika, thank you for heating up the show. I'm sorry, I can't see that until I let me just see. Yeah. Let me just type this in. The blinged. It's quite a long. There it is. All right. So this is a newer seller. She sold 8 items so far. She's handmade jewelry, costume vintage. She's doing a pop-up sale. She's a little pixely, but you know what? We're going to forgive her and send her some love and welcome her to Whatnot. Cambria Cafes is going to get back to cleaning up and listing items on the Whatnot Marketplace. Yay! Awesome. All right. Let's show her some love. What are we going to put in the chat? Hearts in the chat? Let's put hearts in the chat. Okay. Love you guys. I will see you soon. I'll be on tonight, and then I'll see you on Tuesday. Love you.